Yes, 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 yes. All we do is win, win, win. And if you came from MAGA, put your hands in the air, let them stay there. Double tap, hit the like button, man. Double tap it. What's today anyway? I don't even know. Today is All We Do Is Win Wednesday. All we do is win, win, win. And if you came from MAGA, put your hands in the air, let them stay there. All we do is win Wednesday. Perfect Timing Podcast, back with the blast, in and out in the dash real fast. Oh my goodness, man. I'm glad to be back, man. I miss y'all so much. Did you miss your boy? Did you miss your boy, man? If you miss me, let me know in the chat. First in the chat, get shouted out in the doubt. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. Number one podcast on YouTube, coming to you live from the Lindsey Graham funeral. What's that in the background? Perfect. This is Lindsey Graham. Rest in peace, Lindsey Graham. You see Putin. Who is that, Bibi? Who is that, Bibi? Who is that, Zelenskyy? Double tap hit the like button. Bibi and Zelenskyy sitting in the tree. K-I-S-S-I. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. And I just want to, double tap hit the like button. We got Bibi Netanyahu. We got Zelenskyy. Powwow. Get down. Everybody's going down. 48-hour lockdown. 48-hour lockdown. Everybody's scared. The world is terrified. Double tap hit the like button. World War III. World War III. World War III. I don't know what's going on. Everybody is terrified. They said it's a global conflict. The Ukraine has stepped in on behalf of the United States and bombed Iranian vessels, but that's not new. The UAE is bombing Iran. Turkey is about to bomb Iran. Everybody's bombing Iran. You bomb Iran. I bomb Iran. Double tap hit the like button. What you worried about? Oh, America having a little hissy fit. Put your diapers on. Put your big girl panties on, America. We're going for a ride on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap, hit the like button. Nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. Double tap. America is in total control. America is in total control. So a lot has transpired since Turkey. Have you been paying attention? A lot has transpired. You woke up yesterday terrified. You had your panties all in the bunch. Is it going to be a World War III? Why is Zelenskyy and why is Bibi at the White House? I don't know. How about this? America is the big dog. Donald Trump is the king of New York. Double tap, hit the damn like button. Number one podcast on YouTube for political and geopolitical debate. I'm coming to you live from Lindsey Graham funeral, and behind me in the background, this is what everybody been talking about. This is what everybody worried about. See, I already knew this was happening. So people talking about the Ukraine bombing the Iranian ship. But what did I say to you last week? When we already launched the 13 days of straight bombing consecutively on Iran, we just bombed the Iranian naval base with a naval drone. What did I say? It was the first time in American history that we used this type of naval drone. What else did I say? I said it's a possibility that after Trump met with Zelenskyy in Turkey, we got the software and the drone technology necessary to bomb Iran. So even before the Ukraine stepped in on beside of the United States and started bombing Iranian vessels, the Ukraine had provided us with drone technology in Turkey, and we had already implemented that drone technology in the Iran conflict. So what you see is just a further extension of that. New allies being replaced by old allies. So Ukraine is fighting on our behalf. The UAE is fighting on our behalf. Bibi Netanyahu, but who is not fighting on our behalf? Anybody in NATO? Where is NATO? Where is NATO? See, when you need to be worried, you're worried about the wrong things. You're worried about World War III. I'm worried about where is NATO? Because Zelenskyy in the Ukraine, who has been crippled by Russia, is supporting America in Iran. Spain is not supporting America. UK, Britain, EU is not supporting America. France and Macron is not supporting America. What we need to do is look at the writing on the wall. Who is our allies? Who has America's best interests at hand? Because the Europeans have already said, right, Starmer is out. How many of you have been paying attention? Starmer is out. The King Charles fired Starmer. Starmer is out. The Europeans' whole design has changed. What the Europeans want out of the globe, what the Europeans want going forward has totally changed. Starmer is out. King Charles took his resignation. They now have a socialist Labour Party leader as the new prime minister. How many people know what's going on geopolitically? So the world is changing. I am not worried about what I am seeing. I am seeing brand new alliances. Turkey getting F-35 jets. That's a brand new alliance. All right. The Ukraine supplying America with drone technology. How many people have said over and over and over that the Ukraine is at the forefront of drone technology in modern warfare today? The Ukraine has some of the most advanced drones and software. Didn't we already know that? Now the Ukraine is working in conjunction with America to handle Iran and the Straits of Hormuz. I don't know what they're getting out of the deal. You know, Trump is the art of the deal. So most definitely there is something. But if you look at this picture behind me, look at this conversation. Can everybody see this conversation? This is not even Trump. This is a conversation, as I talk about, what does the Ukraine get for giving America this advanced drone technology? What does the Ukraine get out of bombing Iran? What does the Ukraine get out of entering this conflict on the side of America? I don't know, but look at this conversation between Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy right now. I don't see Trump in this. This is the Lindsey Graham funeral. I'm coming to you live, you guys. I'm coming to you live. We breaking it down. Everybody been afraid about World War III. Look at Bibi Netanyahu. Number one, Bibi Netanyahu, Zorani Mandani said Bibi Netanyahu can't even come to America. The next day, Bibi Netanyahu was on the plane. Everybody watching right now, do me a huge favor, hit the like button and subscribe. The next day, de Blasio, a failed New York mayor, and Mandani, another failed New York mayor. Both of them called out Bibi Netanyahu for ICC warrants in international crimes. Mandani made a statement saying that Bibi Netanyahu needs to be arrested. In the statement, Mandani said, I don't have the right to arrest him. The very next day, here it is, Bibi Netanyahu in America defying Mandani right now, defying Mandani's call for the ICC. But that's not what's so important. What's important to unpack about what we're watching right now is how many people knew and understand that Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy had a relationship. These things are becoming more complex than we have been told. How many people understood that Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy was this familiar with each other? What are they discussing? Are they discussing Iran? Are they discussing Lebanon? Are they discussing Hezbollah? What are they discussing? Are they discussing possible people from the Ukraine being relocated to Israel? Are there Jews in the Ukraine? Anybody in the chat? What's the Jewish population of the Ukraine? Double tap at the like button. What is this going on right here? So I'm coming to you live today because a lot of people were concerned about the fact that President Trump hosted Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy both on the same day. And people are worrying about a global conflict. But why are people worried about a global conflict? Escalations have upticked in Iran. We had 13 days straight of bombing. We have recently 4 casualties. In total, we got about 17 casualties in America. Over 3,000, nearly 4,000 casualties on the Iranian side. People have been worried about this relationship. This is July 28th, 2026. Bibi Netanyahu, Zelenskyy, with his shaking hands, smiling. What's going on here? Can anybody tell? Look at this. Look, shaking hands, smiling at the Lindsey Graham funeral. I don't see Trump. This is the Jewish state and the Ukrainian state coming to an agreement. You guys, I don't know what the agreement is, but if I was Iran, I would be worried. What are they talking about? What are they agreeing on? We're going to break it down today because a lot of people are concerned. A lot of people are worried. Everybody watching right now, do me a huge favor, man. Everybody watching right now, do me a huge favor. Funeral services for Lindsey Graham, where you see funeral services for Lindsey Graham, where you see, there's a lot to unpack here. Why is Zelenskyy at the funeral for Lindsey Graham? I don't know. But remember the controversy around Lindsey Graham's death? Lindsey Graham was actually with Zelenskyy right before he passed away. There was controversy on whether or not Lindsey Graham had enough time to get back to his home. They said he didn't die in Kiev. He died at home. If you guys remember, he had just visited Zelenskyy. He was at a table with Zelenskyy before his passing. Now Zelenskyy Zelenskyy is at his funeral along with Bibi Netanyahu. The world is on display, ladies and gentlemen. The world is on display. We're talking about it here right now. Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy both meet with Trump at the White House. Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy both meet with Trump at the White House. People are immediately concerned about a global conflict. People are immediately concerned about a global conflict. Double tap at the like button. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody watching right now, hit the like button.
President Trump behind closed doors. The White House, before they attended Senator Lindsey Graham's memorial service, leaders Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Benjamin Netanyahu held separate meetings with President Trump behind closed doors. The White House has described the meetings as productive. Images have been released, which you're seeing now, but journalists were unable to confirm, and we still are unable to confirm, the positive nature of these talks. We just weren't let in today. Now, despite our best efforts, the world's press were kept away from the inside of the White House today. You can see some of the pictures there. I was there from about 9 o'clock this morning. So were most people. And it strikes you on a day like this, how unusual it is, because the press is given so much access to the White House. All we could manage was a little glimpse. We're seeing it here as Zelenskyy arrive at the side door and leave, and then Benjamin Netanyahu just minutes later, actually, also arriving from the same entrance, having a conversation and leaving. Now, we know that Zelenskyy and Netanyahu also gave exclusive interviews inside that building to the Fox American network here, but very unusual for the press not to be allowed in at all. And I don't know, I'm interested to know from my panel why you think that might be. There was Zelenskyy just leaving. Neither of them were in the building for particularly long, maybe 45 minutes each or something like that. Matthew Hurt, this is such unusual behavior by President Trump. Why wasn't he more transparent about what was going on?
What do you think in the chat? So people are concerned. People are concerned because no one was let into the meeting. The press was kept out. I think it was strategic. I think this was strategic and purposely. I think this was strategic and purposely done this way. This is Donald Trump at the Lindsey Graham funeral. Y'all, let's have a debate in the chat. Hit the like button, hit the vote. I got a poll. I have a pinned comment. Let me know how you feel about this in the chat. Are you worried? I need to know seriously. Let's have a serious talk. Are you worried about what you're seeing happening in the White House? Are you worried about what you're seeing in the Iran conflict? Are you worried about what you're seeing domestically with the Hastings TPS being removed and brand new ICE surges in Ohio, New York, and Florida? Let me know. Are we overextended? Is America and Trump administration overextending itself? Double tap at the like button. We have a lot to discuss today. Let's get into it.
As you remember, Lindsey and I did not exactly get off to the best of starts, running against each other. Back in 2016, Lindsey said something rather nasty on his flight to becoming the next president of the United States. So naturally, I did something that I shouldn't have done. I shared his personal cell phone number with the millions of people that happened to be watching that particular day as I made a speech, a very important speech. And I remember the number 202-228-0292 if anybody wants to give it a shot. His phone exploded. He said, I had that number for 20 years. His phone totally, I don't know what he did with it, but it exploded. That was the beginning of a friendship in a way. But it was Lindsey who had the last laugh, because while I blew up his phone for one day, we became great friends, and Lindsey did not stop calling me for the next 10 years. It was not easy. I always cherish the memories of our golf games, and only because of his really and I will say this memorial service, it's so hard to say. A memorial service for Lindsey, it's hard to say. But I'll admit that one time Lindsey Graham and Annika Sorensen actually beat me and Gary Player together. Can you believe that? Annika played very well that day, actually.
Rest in peace to a great American leader, Lindsey Graham. We're discussing Vladimir Putin and Zelenskyy both having separate private meetings at the White House As escalations uptick after 13 days of straight bombing, and the U.S. takes 4 casualties after Iran starts bombing bases in Jordan and Kuwait. Double tap hit the like button. I got a lot of emails. I got a lot of contacts. I had just got to finish to a debate with a Harvard graduate and a high IT executive. Everybody is worried about what's going on with global geopolitics. Double tap hit the like button. Come on in, chime in. Let me know in the chat. As you do so, hit the like button and subscribe.
On July 28th, U.S. President Donald Trump said he had held separate meetings at the White House with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. According to Trump, the talks focused on major international issues, including the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, regional security, and bilateral cooperation. He described both meetings as productive and said the discussions covered a wide range of matters of mutual interest. Trump added that the United States would continue consultations with both allies on security and regional developments. No detailed joint statements outlining specific agreements were released immediately after the meetings. On July 28th, U.S. President Donald Trump said he had held separate meetings at the White House with Ukrainian President Volodymyr.
What y'all feel, man? How y'all feeling about this in the chat, man? People will worry, man. I want to know your worries, why you're concerned. Share with me why you're concerned. After the meetings, Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy both attended the Lindsey Graham funeral. They were seen having a handshake and some type of come to an agreement moment. Tell me what you see. This is Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy at the Lindsey Graham funeral, shaking hands, having a discussion, coming to some type of quorum. Double tap at the like button. Tell me what y'all think is how Netanyahu and Zelenskyy spotted speaking ahead of the Lindsey Graham funeral. I want to know from you guys in the chat, is there something to be worried about? A lot of people have been concerned. A lot of people have been concerned. Double tap. Hey, what's up with your Eric Jordan, baby? What's up with you, man? Talk about it in the chat, man. Let's have a discussion, man. Let's have a discussion, man. I want to know from you guys. Is there something to be worried about? Is there something to be worried about? Anybody with an intelligent comment? Ukraine builds the drones with Netherlands. Ukraine gets its rocket tech from the Netherlands. Double tap. Thank you for that update. I'm telling you, I got the best chat in the building. So when we saw the Ukraine come in on behalf of America and bomb an Iranian ship, who was that? Remarkable. You probably weren't surprised. These are because you knew about the drone technology that the Ukraine had already supplied. The UK can't have 3 soldiers, 2 Navy men, and 4 Air Force guys. UK, I don't understand that comment. Let's keep going. Double tap, hit the like button. What does everybody have to say? Are people worried right now? Are people worried right now? Perfect Timing Podcast. Salute to you, Eric Jordan. That's my brother right there. Double tap, hit the like button. I want to know from everybody in the chat. I thought the most critical issue was my dog. Ma said the most critical issue is her dog. No, this channel is about politics, baby. This channel is about politics. Double tap, hit the like button. This has to be a movie. Zelenskyy is part of a party. Boy, what a blackmailing Joe Biden. Man, that's a lot. You got to watch the language in the chat. But Zelenskyy is a comedian, and yes, he was installed when Joe Biden was vice president under Obama. You know, they don't like to talk about that. They always say, why you want to go back to Biden? Why you want to go back to Obama? Double tap at the like button. We are discussing today, Zelenskyy. Look at Zelenskyy looking very happy. Look at Zelenskyy looking very happy as he meets and discusses with Bibi Netanyahu. So both of the meetings were closed meetings, everybody. Both of the meetings were closed meetings. Right? They were closed meetings. You were not allowed to be inside of the meeting, and the press has been having a hissy fit. Double tap at the like button because we've been having escalations in the Iran conflict. I believe people are worried. Are you worried right now?
And attacks over the past several days. Now,
Let's get you that up. Are you worried right now? I want to know how people are feeling right now as it's concerned. Is there reason to be concerned with Bibi Netanyahu and Zelensky having secret meetings with the president without the press, both on the same day? Double tap at the like button. Then we see Bibi Netanyahu and Zelensky together at the funeral without American representation. This is the thing that you got to pull out of that video. Bibi Netanyahu met together without America. They're having their own conversation. Now, America is not in the region. Israel and the Ukraine share space. It makes sense for Israel and the Ukraine to be on one accord. And we now see the Ukraine is now supporting America, not only with drone technology, but actually bombing Iranian vessels. Double tap at the like button. Let's get into this update, everybody.
About to hit go after Iran launched a surprise attack on American troops. So there had been a pause for several nights. Now it's on. U.S. Central Command says the regime fired multiple missiles at U.S. forces in Jordan last night. Those missiles were shot down. The president, again, had paused strikes 5 days before to give space for diplomatic talks. Iran doesn't want to talk, apparently. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks in the Middle East. Trey.
Harris, good morning. President Trump reacting to that surprise attack launched by Iran against U.S. forces in Jordan. The president told Fox News, quote, "We are going to beat the effing S out of them." He went on to say, "We'll be hitting them hard." And he finished saying they're going to get a beating. We know at least 5 missiles were fired by Iran, breaking the lull in attacks over the past several days. Now, the United States has not yet responded to that attack, but overnight, U.S. and Saudi planes conducted a series of airstrikes against Iran-backed Shia militias in Iraq, who were responsible for 30 drone attacks.
Double tap at the like button, coming to you live with the update. Somebody said they had a question in the chat. Somebody said, what was the question, bro? What was the question? Gary said, waiting for a response. What was the question, bro? Eric, did Gary have a question? Because I don't see the question in the chat. I don't see what you had to say, bro. But if you have a question, put your question in the chat. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. First in the chat, get shouted out without a doubt. Double tap at the like button, coming to you live. President Trump has 2 meetings, separate meetings with Zelensky and Bibi Netanyahu. This is relevant because in recent events, we have brand new information that after meeting with Zelensky and Ankara, Turkey at the NATO summit, there is rumors that the Ukraine, and the chat just said that the Netherlands helped the Ukraine. There's rumors that the Ukraine, number one, has some of the most advanced drone technology in warfare today. They're sharing their technology with America. I showed you a video where America, for the first time, America's Navy used an unmanned naval drone to blow up an Iranian naval port. Double tap at the like button. Everybody coming in right now, double tap at the like button. So that was the first report that we had, that America and Ukraine were working together in the Iranian conflict with the drone technology. Lately, we just heard that the Ukraine bombed an Iranian vessel. Now we have secret meetings. I don't want to say secret meetings, but these meetings were not, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. These meetings were not allowed to be seen by the press. Donald Trump now answering questions about the closed, let's say closed. How do we like that, you guys? It's all we do is win Wednesday. All we do is win, win, win. And if you came for MAGA, put your hands in the air. Let them stay there. Trump holds closed meetings with Zelensky and Bibi. Bibi and Zelensky sitting in a tree. Kissing. Kissing. And all I want to do is hit the like button, everybody.
How was your meeting with President Vladimir Zelensky yesterday?
It was good.
Did you see a time scale?
No, it was good. Look, he's out doing his thing. I'd like him to end the war. So it's very simple. I get along with both. I get along with President Putin. I get along with President Zelensky. Like I told him, I wanted to end the war, get the war ended. Thousands of people, 25,000 people died last month.
Wow.
That's standard. And it's not acceptable.
Oh.
So I said, just end the war.
Donald Trump says Donald Trump says in the meeting with Zelenskyy, he's asking Zelenskyy to end the war. Now, how many people are up to date on what's going on when we talk about the Russia-Ukraine? See, they don't like to talk about the Russia-Ukraine. Why? Shout out to W in the chat for me, W in the chat. The Ukraine conflict happened under Kamala Biden. Biden, Kamala, double tap at the like button. But it goes back to Obama, Biden, Obama. See, Biden was the envoy. Biden was the front person. Biden was the border czar when it came to the Ukraine back in 2008. That's why we get the Burisma phone call. That's how you get Hunter Biden on the board of Burisma. That's how you get Joe Biden on the phone with a quid pro quo with the Ukrainian government. See, before Zelenskyy was installed with the help of Joe Biden in the day of revolution, the president of the Ukraine was a friend of Putin, and there was no issues because Putin had a red line. Today we're talking about Trump's red line. Double tap at the like button, everybody. Putin had a red line. The red line was the Ukraine cannot be part of NATO. Double tap at the like button. But then what happened was they installed Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy gets into a conflict, and then the next thing you know, Zelenskyy and they want to be part of NATO, right? And then Joe Biden steals the election in 2020. Yes, he did. Shout out to the Fulton County prosecution. So Joe Biden and Kamala Harris goes to Munich, Germany. Kamala Harris starts spouting off that the Ukraine has a right and a desire to be part of NATO. The next thing you know, Putin starts bombing the Ukraine, and now 25,000 Ukrainians are dying every day. The Ukraine never had enough people to fight the war. If you remember, how many people remember Africans getting on trains by the thousands, leaving the Ukraine, Africans who had migrated to the Ukraine. And this is why Trump, and I support Trump on his ICE surges with the Haitians. Double tap, hit the like button. Ice, baby. Too cold, it's like ice, baby. Just go back home. Just go back home. So the Africans had immigrated to the Ukraine to get that good white pussy and to get that good white money. But when it came time to fight and defend that good white pussy and that good white money, the Africans left. And the Africans said, well, I'm not fighting for the Ukraine. Anybody remember when the Africans left and said, I'm not fighting for the Ukraine. I'm not from the Ukraine. And they all left. So I can see Haitians doing that same shit. I can see everybody that we let in America. And right now, when it's time to go fight in Iran, how many people think the Haitians or the Somalians is going to suit up? How many people, put a one in the chat, are the Haitians and the Somalians gonna suit up and go die and fight for those billions that they receive? Double type it the goddamn like bucket. The Ukraine had to send old, elderly people out of retirement to the front line. The Ukraine had to send women to the front line because they didn't have enough 18-year-olds. How many people recall it's been so long they've been dying? Been so long. Making my Revy. Been so long. They've been bombing them heavy. Man, how long has the Ukraine conflict been going on? Anybody want to beg to make a number? How many people have died? Because people know about the Iran conflict, the dollars, the cents, and everything. But see, they don't know the details about Ukraine because it doesn't fare well in the discussion and the Trump hate. Because then you have to talk about the failures and the multiple failures of the Joe Biden geopolitical landscape. Because he didn't just fail in the bombing on October 8th in Israel. He didn't just fail when Putin bombed the Ukraine. He didn't respond. He didn't just fail. He failed when he left Afghanistan. He was a failure. He was a failure. He was a failure. Can I get he was a failure? He was a failure. Can I get he was a failure? Can I get he was a failure in the chat? He was a failure over and over and over. The best excuse is to say he was asleep or I had some type of mental illness. Because if he didn't go to sleep and if he wasn't mentally ill, he was a failure. Can I get that in the chat over and over and over and over? Let's get to Trump talking about what happened with the Zelenskyy meeting that everybody is so worried about. Trump holds closed meetings, 2 meetings the same day. Zelenskyy and Bibi and Netanyahu attend Lindsey Graham's funeral, and then they have also a powwow amongst themselves. There's a lot going on in geopolitics today. We got an ICE surge to get into, Haitian TPS removed. I just hinted at that story right now. Double tap at the like button.
How was your meeting with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy yesterday?
It was good.
Did you see a time scale?
No, it was good. Look, he's out doing his thing. I'd like him to end the war. So it's very simple. Get along with both. I get along with President Putin. I get along with President Zelenskyy. Like I told him, I want to end the war, get the war ended. Thousands of people, 25,000 people died last month.
Wow.
That's standard. And it's not acceptable.
No.
So I said, just end the war.
Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with Trump. Trump says just end the war. Put a 1 in the chat. And as I was getting to with my soliloquy, as we led up to this, so I'm giving you the play-by-play in the background. So before these meetings, what was going on? So before these meetings, how we would probably have a peace agreement, and we wouldn't have this death in the Ukraine, because everybody knows the Ukraine can't beat Russia. The Russia has said at this point, Russia is bombing Kiev. So we've been bombing Iran for 13 days. You know what's not in American news? You know what's not in American media? The Russia bombing campaign on the Ukraine. Double tap at the like button. Zelensky's over here at a damn funeral, but right now, Russia has been bombing consistently the capital of Ukraine with impunity. No one's stopping them. Russia has been bombing the capital of Ukraine for the past 2 weeks. While we're bombing Iran, Russia has escalated ever since the 4th of July. Ever since the 4th of July, Russia has escalated attacks on the Ukraine. But before that, we were in peace talks in Abu Dhabi. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff were in peace agreements and peace talks before February 28th when we invaded Iran. We were in Abu Dhabi, and Putin had come to the table to discuss a peace agreement. The reason we don't have peace right now is because shitty Starmer, who got kicked out of the parliament, double tell how much y'all, shitty Starmer and Macron worked against America. Number one, Starmer worked against America to get the UK and the EU to side against America in the Iran conflict. Double tap, hit the like button. He sided with the Europe and said Europe wanted to focus on the Russian front. And then he didn't allow America to use the bases. Now Starmer is no longer prime minister. They have a socialist Labor Party leader. But y'all need to pay attention to what's going on. Double tap at the like button. Let's go to this video.
Both Ukrainian President Zelenskyy and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
So we were in Abu Dhabi with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. We damn near had a peace agreement. We had a 21-point peace plan. The first 2 points of the peace agreement, Putin said Ukraine cannot be part of NATO. The second is the Ukraine has to get rid of the Nazis. And that's the Azov battalion that I've educated you guys on before. That America media never wants to talk about. CNN loves to talk about Iran. CNN loves to talk about this and that. Why don't you talk about how Biden and Obama sat back and helped the proliferation of the modern day Nazi, neo-Nazi era? Double tap hit the like button. How many of y'all know about that? I said Abu Dhabi, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, peace agreement, 21-point peace plan with Russia on the table before we invade February 28th. Starmer and Macron worked behind our back to stall the peace agreement. When we invade Iran February 28th, Starmer and Macron give Zelenskyy missiles. Are y'all listening? Starmer and Macron give Zelenskyy missiles behind the Americans' back. So America go to our allies in NATO, say we're invading Iran. We want access to the base. We want your support when we invade Iran. Guess what they did behind our back? Instead of supporting us, they went behind our back the same day and bombed Russia to undermine peace talks in Abu Dhabi, to keep and extend the war in the Ukraine. How many of y'all understand why Trump, Marco Rubio, and conservative outlets like this have consistently said the UN and NATO is not aligned with American principles and ideology? They have different designs. They said, Macron, Starmer said, we're focusing on the European Russia front. We cannot put energy on the Iran conflict. This is the reality. So I'm not worried. I'm ecstatic when I see Bibi. When I see Bibi with Zelenskyy, I understand what's going on. But just to let you guys know, we were in peace talks, and we were undermined by France and the EU. And no one ever has admitted that what these two talking points: no NATO for the Ukraine, no more Nazis in the Ukraine. We never had that conversation. Let's get you more details about Trump having closed. These aren't secret meetings. We're going with the phraseology. Trump having closed meetings. Y'all like that? Y'all see the quotation? Trump had closed 2 separate closed meetings, one with Bibi Netanyahu, one with Zelensky, and then they both attended Zelensky's funeral. Double tap at the like, but you're watching the Perfect Timing Podcast live with the best updates for geopolitics and domestic politics. After our geopolitical update, we're gonna go domestic with the Haitians TPS being rescinded and ICE surges in multiple states. ICE surges in Ohio, ICE surges in New York and Florida, all of them targeting the Haitian community. Double tap the like button. Y'all watching the #1 podcast on YouTube.
Both Ukrainian President Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu requested meetings with President Trump while they were in town for Lindsey Graham's funeral. Fox is told the talks were more of a catch-up than anything else, but the topic of Iran loomed over both.
Wow.
Tonight, following his funeral, Senator Lindsey Graham's namesake Russia sanctions bill will get a procedural vote in the Senate and is expected to pass after a group of bipartisan senators announced an agreement.
Both Ukrainian President Zelensky.
So this is what is motivating the fear. This is what's motivating the conversation. After these meetings, a lot of people had fear. A lot of people had fear about the conversations in the meetings. So let's talk about it in the chat. What are you afraid about? What is the fear? Talk about it in the chat. Carl 44444 says Russia is backing Iran and the Ukraine. Double tap at the like button. How do you feel about that? Biden definitely is a failure. Shout out to Angelica. Is that Angelique? Angelica, I was watching that the other day. What's that? The Rugrats. Angelica. Shout out to Angelique, man. Shout out to you. He is definitely a failure. Look at that hair on Angelique. That's some beautiful hair. Double tap, hit the like button. What proof, Carl, do you have that Russia is backing Iran and fighting Ukraine? Double tap, hit the like button. What proof do you have that? And Ape said rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. I agree with that, man. That sounds like some rubbish to me, man. That sounds like, but back it up in the chat, man. Back it up. Back it up in the chat. Minecraft, man, you better be 18 and over, man. No kids in the chat, man. Maybe they should stop committing crimes and actually act civilized. Well, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Bibi Netanyahu and the Israels? Are you talking about Zelensky and the Ukraines? Are you talking about Russia and the Putins? Are you talking about Trumps and the Americans? Let us know in the chat, Minecraft, and put the peanut butter and the lotion down, homie. Put the peanut butter and the lotion down. NJ said Trump had Netanyahu. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me highlight that because I just like the way he spelled that. He might not even be on my side. Trump had Netanyahu. I like that, man. I might start using that. That's a good one. In the war room, sit next to him. That's insane. $22 billion a year, and we can't even get our teeth fixed. Trump's embarrassment is going to destroy America. What $22 billion? Are you talking about $22 billion in Israel? Because there's so much more money on the line, man. It's so much. Pete Hegeseth, right now, Capitol Hill, we just got $70 billion for ICE. We asking for $1.5 trillion as far as the budget is concerned. It's so much money on the line. We just got $7 billion out of Venezuela. It's in the Qatari offshore account. Yeah, we making money off of Venezuela. We're getting Epstein money. Woo, woo. We're getting Epstein money. Woo, woo. We're getting Epstein money. Yeah, man, we making money off of Venezuelan crude, man. We've been stealing oil. I didn't want to do it. I said I didn't want to do it. We're gonna bomb our little hearts out, and we're gonna bomb Carg Island, but don't touch the pipes because we're keeping the oil. I said I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I'm gonna bomb my little heart out. We're gonna bomb Carg Island. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I'm gonna bomb them. I'm gonna bomb Carg Island. Don't touch the pipes. Pause. Don't touch my pipe because we're gonna keep the oil. We're keeping the oil. We're keeping the oil. I said I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but we're going to do it. We're going to bomb them. We're bombing Carg Island, but don't touch the pipe. I told them, don't touch the pipes. Don't, because we're going to keep the oil. Double tap hit the like. We're keeping the oil. Donald Trump, Bibi Netanyahu has meetings in the White House. We're going with the phraseology as closed meetings. Some people have said secret meetings. We're saying closed meetings.
Both Ukrainian President Zelenskyy and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu requested meetings with President Trump while they were in town for Lindsey Graham's funeral. Fox is told the talks were more of a catch-up than anything else, but the topic of Iran loomed over both.
Tonight, following his funeral, Senator Lindsey Graham's namesake Russia sanctions bill will get a procedural vote in the Senate and is expected to pass after a group of bipartisan senators announced an agreement.
Both Ukrainian President Zelenskyy and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu requested meetings with President Trump while they were.
Boy, y'all, I just got a cramp. I was just laughing so hard. I got a cramp. I got to be careful. I cannot be laughing like that. Ooh, pain, 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 pain. Ooh, I just got a cramp in my side. Ooh, feel like I don't want to say the H word because I got a birthday coming up. I'm about to be half a man. Hey, y'all say a prayer for me. Let's go. Netanyahu attends Lindsey Graham's funeral after Trump meeting. Double tap at the like button. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot in American geopolitics because how many people remember where was Lindsey Graham when he passed away? Lindsey Graham was abroad, and then there was speculation. Remember that? We didn't go into that because it wasn't going to bring Lindsey Graham back, right? And his family was dealing with his loss. So I didn't really go deep into those conspiracy theories on the channel, but Lindsey Graham was abroad meeting with Zelenskyy. If I'm correct me in the chat. Lindsey Graham was abroad, and the issues was, did Lindsey Graham have enough time to actually make it home and pass away at home? Did anybody remember that story? But here it is, Lindsey Graham's funeral, and Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy are at the funeral on the same day that they both have closed door meetings. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu attended the funeral of late Republican Lindsey Graham, a longtime advocate for Israel who backed military action against Iran. Mr. Netanyahu said Israel had lost one of his greatest friends after Lindsey Graham passed. Before attending the funeral, he held talks with U.S. President Donald Trump. Hold on. Let's hear what he says. Double tap, you guys. Y'all gotta love it how I bring you this information. I've just finished an excellent meeting with President Trump. He's speaking in his native tongue. When I say, he said, let's a conversation with the full partnership with mutual support. And he said, when I say excellent, it's not just a matter of language. With to ensure that Iran does not obtain nuclear weapons and other goals as well. It was one of the best conversations I've ever had with the U.S. president. Now, this is after Donald Trump gives Turkey F-35s and lifts sanctions on Turkey. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember Bibi was not happy with Trump giving Turkey those F-35 jets and lifting the sanctions. Pay attention. Our friend Donald Trump. This is looking like a scene from The Godfather. I got to cut off the music, y'all. God, dog. Look at this. Is this a funeral or is this a Godfather? Look at Pete Haggins. I'm trying to keep it professional, y'all. But damn, this look like a Godfather. This look like The Godfather, man. Hold on, man. I can't play the music, but just for 2 seconds. Tell me what you see kissing the ring. That's the Godfather shit, man. That's the Godfather man. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what you say. That's the Godfather, man. What is going on at this funeral? Hey, I can't even hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. Something is going on at this funeral, man. Yeah, man. Deep state, meat state, red. What's going on with this Godfather shit? Look at this. Whoever edited this, man, yo, bro, you did a magical job with that edit, boy. This is Al Pacino level editing right here. This is Bibi Netanyahu, Pete Hegseth at the Lindsey Graham funeral, and it's like a mob meeting, man. King of New York. Check it out. I don't even know why they're face to face. Why are you face to? You know, it's a funeral for Lindsey Graham. Why are you face to face? Straight up. Double tap hit the like button, man. Y'all gotta let me know in the chat how you feel about it.
Go.
We coming to you live, man. Iran update. President Trump has closed door meetings with Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy about Iran, about nuclear war. Let's get into it, chat.
It's about to hit go after Iran launched a surprise attack on American troops. So there had been a pause for several nights. Now it's on. U.S. Central Command says the regime fired multiple missiles at U.S. forces in Jordan last night. Those missiles were shot down. The president, again, had paused strikes 5 days before to give space for diplomatic talks. Iran doesn't want to talk, apparently. Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst in the Middle East. Trey.
Harris, good morning. President Trump reacting to that surprise attack launched by Iran against U.S. forces in Jordan. The president told Fox News, quote, "We are going to beat the effing S out of them." He went on to say, "We'll be hitting them hard." And he finished saying they're going to get a beating. We know at least 5 missiles were fired by Iran, breaking the lull in attacks over the past several days. Now, the United States has not yet responded to that attack, but overnight, U.S. and Saudi planes conducted a series of airstrikes against Iran-backed Shia militias in Iraq, who were responsible for 30 drone attacks.
So did y'all hear that? So we got Iran. Maybe that's why people are finally maybe paying attention to what's going on. So you have Iran coming in on the side of the Americans. The UAE came in on the side of the Americans, and you just heard that the Saudis came in on the side of the Americans, and the Saudis are assisting America with bombing bases. Let me say that correctly. The Saudis are assisting Americans with bombing Iranian forces in Iraq. Double tap hit the like button. Y'all with me so far? It's getting complex out here in these global streets. It's getting complex out here in these global streets. It's going back. So check this out, you guys. Let's lay it all out for the people who just new to the game, man. Things have gotten thick ever since Turkey. Ever since that NATO summit where Trump said we don't want to trade with Spain, so we just put 50% tariffs on Canada. I told y'all, remember Trudeau? So Starmer is out and Trudeau is out. Yo, when you having a debate on TikTok and you talking to somebody about this, there are certain things they got to know that just got to you got to know that they may not be up to snuff to have this debate. Starmer is out and Trudeau is out. There's a brand new Labor socialist leaning leader as a prime minister, and there's a brand new prime minister in Canada. Both of them are not friendly with Trump, and we just put 50% tariffs on Canada. We're going after Canada. While we were in Turkey, we said, fuck Spain. We don't want to do no trade with Spain. We just said the same thing. A lot is going on. So going back to Turkey was just a few days ago when Trump went to Turkey for a NATO summit. Trump said, I don't even give a fuck about NATO. I don't even want to participate in a NATO summit. I'm only here because the president of Turkey is my friend. I want to lift sanctions. When they asked Trump, he didn't even let the president of Turkey speak. He said, I want to answer for him. How many people remember that? I showed the video. Trump said, I want to answer for him. Trump said, I'm lifting the sanctions. Trump said, I'm lifting the sanctions and I'm giving them the F-35 jets off the top. I'm lifting the sanctions and they getting the F. So going back to Turkey in the UN summit, when Trump basically made Turkey the power broker, things started to change. Double tap hit the like button. Everybody watching right now, do me a huge favor. Hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe, man. Hit the super chat. We just hit 13,000 the other day. #1 podcast on YouTube for political and geopolitical debate. I want to say thank you, man. I just subscribed to everybody who's a member. I got a lot of new members the other day, man, and it felt good. And I want to say thank you and I love you. It means so much to a content creator, man, when people support. So I want to say thank you and I love you to all the members. Everybody that's a member on the channel, channel, I'm gonna subscribe to you. And a lot of the people who are members, who are content creators, I did my best to hit the notification bell because I want to show up when you make your content, and I want to support you in the same way you support me. So I want to say thank you to everyone who joined the channel, became a member. I hope you saw that I subscribed to your channel, and I'm here to support you in the same way, bro. I love you all. Thank you for liking and subscribing and sharing and supporting and liking, man. We hit 13,000. We on our way to 100,000. We on our way to 100,000. We're going to do that with your help, and we do that by you hitting the like button and subscribing right now. So let's get back into this update, and I'm going to address the chat. Mr. Veganfield says, so they have finally got Muslims fight Muslims over money to help Zionism. No, I don't see how that is actually what's happening. And please tell me how Zionism is benefiting from America shutting down the Straits of Hormuz, America taking Venezuela, America stealing oil from Iran, America toppling Iran and setting up more oil and breaking up OPEC, making the petrodollar resurgent. Like, America has been benefiting time after time again. America is making money off of Venezuelan crude. America now has control over South America via Venezuela. You know what I'm saying? We never talk about that, bro. We never talk about Brazil. We never talk about BRICS. We never talk about the relationship between South America and China and the Middle East before Donald Trump, under Biden, what it was like. It was scary, man. South America was working with Hamas, working with China. After we go, so y'all just hear about Maduro, and you hear about in a certain way because they want to frame it to say that Trump is a bad guy. I'm asking a question about, he said that Zionism is benefiting. I'm just putting out the rest that Zionism is not benefiting. But I think that's just lazy, and I think that's racist to say Zionism is benefiting, right? It's completely ignoring the landscape, right? Even in the debate I had today, I had a debate today with some very intelligent people, and nobody brought up the fact that somehow Zionism is a boogeyman. And you know, Elon Musk is a trillionaire. I think I would love people to start using their brain, bro. I would love people to start using their brain, bro. Like, Elon Musk is a trillionaire. Will you please stop with the Jewish boogeyman? Please, bro, please. Elon Musk is a trillionaire. The world is different. Other day when I was outside, I talked about how Trump made algorithms. AI algorithms are now proprietary, like the F-16, because in the future, it won't be a kinetic war. It won't be about Patriot missiles. It will be about software. It will be about the blockchain. It will be about Web 3.0. It will be about who has access to these precious minerals to fund and fuel the quantum computing of AI of future, right? That's why we doing all of this, bro. Like this has nothing to do with Zionism. You know what I'm saying? SpaceX and Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire. Like, it's lazy. It's racist and lazy. It's racist and lazy. You know what I'm saying? It's racist and lazy. It's absolutely racist and lazy. It's like people are not thinking, right? I don't think they have the ability to think. That's what TDS is all about. They don't have the ability to think. They don't see a trillionaire. They don't see what it means to be a trillionaire. Elon Musk is a trillionaire. So now you guys have to get a new boogeyman. Right? If you try to convince people to be scared of the state of Israel while we have a fucking trillionaire with so much power, just stop. That's lazy. That's actually lazy. Like, you want me to be afraid of Israel? Really? When we have a trillionaire? It's like you guys don't know Batman. If Batman was alive, if there was a real Batman, he would go kidnap Elon Musk and say he can't exist. Why? Because he can't. Someone this powerful is dangerous to the whole globe. We can't have a real live superhero. And people want us to be afraid of Israel. That's how intellectually lazy they are. We have someone who can control satellites and rockets, trillions of dollars markets, global markets, and you want people to be afraid of Israel. It just shows how intellectually lazy you are. You should have thought better when you came into my chat. You could do better than that. Double tap at the like button. Trump meets with Zelensky and Bibi Netanyahu in closed meetings.
In the next 5 minutes, we are expecting to see Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who has the first meeting with President Trump, followed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at 11. It's not often you get two world leaders visiting the President of the United States here at the White House, absent a summit or peace accords, Dana. And earlier, President Trump paid homage to the late Senator Lindsey Graham, the reason both those world leaders are visiting Washington today.
He was able to bring people together. If I needed a Democrat, he could usually produce that Democrat if I had to have him in an emergency. He was a great politician and a great gentleman.
And the president said Lindsey Graham was like one of the family. Now, after Ukraine launched attacks on Iranian shipping in the Caspian Sea, both wars feel closer together, with the U.S. and Ukraine having launched attacks against a common enemy, Iran. Ukraine said the ship was carrying military equipment between Iran and Russia. Iran's foreign minister voices displeasure about an attack on a commercial vessel. Some see the irony, Dana. We all remember the contentious Oval Office meeting last year. President Trump telling Zelenskyy you don't have the cards right now after boosting his drone production from thousands to millions in a year, after launching deep strikes into Russia and now this Iranian ship. Some experts think Ukraine has a nice hand right now. Both Trump and Zelenskyy met at the NATO summit in Turkey earlier this month, and with the relationship appeared to be in much better standing.
We've actually developed a good relationship. It's hard to believe, right? From the Oval Office to now, I think we've developed a very good relationship. And
this is not the end.
No, this is going to be the beginning, maybe.
Oh.
Just the beginning.
And when President Trump meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, expect Pickaxe Mountain to be discussed. That's that underground suspected nuclear site where Iran may have shifted some of its enriched uranium before Operation Midnight Hammer last year, Dana.
Okay, and how do you expect that vote to go in the Congress today for sanctions against Russia?
Well, after meeting with President Trump, Ukraine's president will be going to Capitol Hill to meet with senators ahead of that key vote. As we heard earlier from Chad Pergram, no matter how it goes in the Senate, the House is out of session, so it might be till September before anything goes in front of the president's desk. But certainly this would be a vote to honor the late Senator Lindsey Graham, who believed in these sanctions to ramp up pressure on Russia. It's one of the reasons Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine just days before he died.
Right. That was confirmation. What I was trying to explain to you guys. He was in the Ukraine hours before he died. Straight up. He was in the Ukraine hours before he died. And it was a speculation on whether or not he had time to get back, be it as it may. He passed away, rest in peace. He passed away, rest in peace. Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy both attend Lindsey Graham funeral. Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy have closed-door meetings at the White House on the same day. And reports are they discussed Iran, the conflict on Iran. This is after, like I just said, after things have changed since Turkey. That's what the report just said. Things have drastically changed since Ankara, Turkey, right? Well, that was the first meeting with Trump and Zelenskyy. Then we saw drone technology that we've never seen before in American warfare go after Iranian bases. People speculated that drone technology came from the Ukraine. In my chat today, they've said that drone technology came from the Ukraine, but supplied to them by the Netherlands. Double tap at the like button. Now, again, we have the Ukraine meeting in a closed-door session with Trump after the Ukraine now bombed an Iranian vessel. Did you guys know the Ukraine come in this conflict on behalf of America and has recently bombed an Iranian vessel? Double tap at the like button. Now we're having closed session meetings. They both attend Lindsey Graham's funeral. Let you get you more details.
The meeting at the White House did not turn into the public confrontation that many headlines had predicted in advance. President Donald Trump described his meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as very good. Netanyahu said it was one of the best conversations he had ever held with the American president. These statements do not prove that the two leaders agree on every tactical question. They do show that the meeting was not a humiliation, a rupture, or a diplomatic ambush. It was a serious working session focused on a shared objective. Iran must not be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon. Senior officials from both governments participated in a large part of the discussion. On the American side were Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Radcliffe, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. The presence of this team shows that this was not merely a ceremonial photo opportunity. The military, intelligence, diplomatic, and negotiating tracks were together in the same room.
No, this was not just this was business. This was first-hand, first-class business, baby. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. It's business. It's business time. Trump on Iran said Trump said we're going to bomb our effing S. That's what Trump said. Trump is not playing with Iran. Escalations are upticking in Iran. Double tip at the like button. Let's get into this Iran escalation. Maybe that's why people are concerned. You have the Ukraine. I just said the Saudis have now come in on the side of the Americans and are attacking Iranian proxies in Iraq. Let's get some more updates. Let me know how y'all feel in the chat.
President Trump warned the Iranians that he was ready for strong military action if peace talks failed. And then the Iranians went and attacked or tried to attack American troops stationed throughout the Middle East. That has got Saudi Arabia more involved. And CENTCOM is explaining that this is how it went down. U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorist logistics and weapons sites across Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours. The unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful. And that's the latest proof that in this newly shaped Middle East, Saudi Arabia is on the same side as Israel, with Netanyahu and President Trump talking about this yesterday.
It was one of the best meetings that we've had. And I always hate to disappoint our would-be critics who are trying to find, cracks in our alliance. And what they find, like today, is a wall of granite, because the president is so clear. I mean, we have a common commitment. We don't want to see this fanatic regime in Tehran have nuclear weapons.
How y'all feel about that? How y'all feel about that?
President Trump warned the Iranians that he was ready for strong military action if peace talks failed. And then the Iranians went and attacked or tried to attack American troops stationed throughout the Middle East. That has got Saudi Arabia more involved. And CENTCOM is explaining that this is how it went down. U.S. and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple terrorist logistics and weapons sites across Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 72 hours. The unwarranted attacks against U.S. forces were not successful. And that's the latest proof that in this newly shaped Middle East, Saudi Arabia is on the same side as Israel, with Netanyahu and President Trump talking about this yesterday.
It was one of the best meetings that we've had. And I always hate to disappoint our would-be critics who are trying to find, cracks in our alliance. And what they find, like today, is a wall of granite, because the president is so clear. I mean, we have a common commitment. We don't want to see this fanatic regime in Tehran have nuclear weapons.
We have a common commitment, ladies and gentlemen. You haven't heard that once from the Europeans. Nobody in NATO, besides Turkey, has shared that same sentiment. Y'all need to understand what a real ally looks like and sounds like. What an ally looks like and sounds like. Double tap at the like button.
In the next 5 minutes, we are expecting to see Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who has the first meeting with President Trump, followed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at 11. It's not often you get two world leaders visiting the President of the United States here at the White House, absent a summit or peace accords, Dana. And earlier, President Trump paid homage to the late Senator Lindsey Graham, the reason both those world leaders are visiting Washington today.
He was able to bring people together. If I needed a Democrat, he could usually produce that Democrat if I had to have him in an emergency. He was a great politician and a great gentleman.
And the president said Lindsey Graham was like one of the family. Now, after Ukraine launched attacks on Iranian shipping in the Caspian Sea, both wars feel closer together, with the U.S. and Ukraine having launched attacks against a common enemy, Iran. Ukraine said the ship was carrying military equipment between Iran and Russia. Iran's foreign minister voices displeasure about an attack on a commercial vessel. Some see the irony, Dana. We all remember the...
Did y'all hear that? I just explained to you that the Ukraine came in on the side of the Americans and bombed an Iranian vessel. Now we get more details. Now we getting more details. What happened was the Iranians were trying to ship and ferry military things back and forth from Russia. So now we are learning that this global has turned into a more of a global conflict. We have the Saudis now working with Americans, bombing Iranians in Iraq. Now you have the Ukrainians bombing Iran, who is trying to work with Russia. Double tap at the like button. Listen to the details.
Russia. Iran's foreign minister voices displeasure about an attack on... Now, after Ukraine launched attacks on Iranian shipping in the Caspian Sea, both wars feel closer together, with the U.S. and Ukraine having launched attacks.
So the Ukraine launched attacks on Iran in the Caspian Sea. And now people are saying both wars are converging into what now people are fearing into a global conflict. Double tap at the like button, everybody. Is y'all understanding the picture that's being painted? Is everybody understanding the picture that's being painted?
To have him in an emergency. He was a great politician and a great gentleman.
Trump says about
Lindsey Graham was like one of the family. Now, after Ukraine launched attacks on Iranian shipping in the Caspian Sea, both wars feel closer together, with the U.S. and Ukraine having launched attacks against a common enemy, Iran. Ukraine said the ship was carrying military equipment between Iran and Russia. Iran's foreign minister voices displeasure about an attack on a commercial vessel. Some see the irony, Dana. We all remember the contentious Oval Office meeting last year. President Trump telling Zelenskyy you don't have the cards right now, after boosting his drone production from thousands to millions in a year, after launching deep strikes into Russia and now this Iranian ship. Some experts think Ukraine has a nice hand right now. Both Trump and Zelenskyy met at the NATO summit in Turkey earlier this month, and with the relationship appeared to be in much better standing.
So the Ukraine went from creating hundreds of drones, and now Ukraine has the capability to create millions of drones. And y'all should just say, after Biden and the Americans gave them hundreds of billions of dollars, can we just say the Ukraine ain't got no economy, right? When they say the Ukraine is doing this and the Ukraine is doing that, the Ukraine is doing what the NATO and America is giving them the money to do, right? So if they're going to produce millions of drones, it's because of the billions of dollars that America gave them, correct?
We've actually developed a good relationship. It's hard to believe, right? From the Oval Office to now, I think we've developed a very good relationship. And
this is not the end.
No, this is going to be the beginning, maybe.
Yeah.
Just the beginning.
And when President Trump meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, expect Pickaxe Mountain to be discussed. That's that underground suspected nuclear site where Iran may have shifted some of its enriched uranium before Operation Midnight Hammer last year, Dana.
Okay, and how do you expect that vote to go in the Congress today for sanctions against Russia?
Well, after meeting with President Trump, Ukraine's president will be going to Capitol Hill to meet with senators ahead of that key vote. As we heard earlier from Chad Pergram, no matter how it goes in the Senate, the House is out of session, so it might be till September before anything goes in front of the president's desk. But certainly this would be a vote to honor late Senator Lindsey Graham, who believed in these sanctions to ramp up pressure on Russia. It's one of the reasons Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine just days before he died.
He was in the Ukraine just days before he died. I think that's a fire update. 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 Let's get into some let's get into some ice. Let's get into some ice updates. Let's get into some ice updates. Let's get into some more ice, baby. Too cold. It's like ice, baby. Just go back home. Just go back home. Double tap, hit the like button. Breaking news. July 27, breaking news. Tom Homan just dropped a bombshell. DOJ has indicted the people who leaked the detail of ICE raids, and they came from inside the FBI. Oh, what? I'm not surprised. The deep state at it again. Breaking news. Double tap, hit the like button. ICE surge. TPS removed. 350,000 Haitians gotta go. ICE surge in Ohio, Florida, New York, MAGA Wednesday. All we do is win. And if you came for MAGA, put your hands in the air. Let them stay there. ICE update.
Where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside. And we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got the DHS IG investigating the first one. Have a pretty good idea what happened. Can't share a lot because it's under investigation, but the IG's opened up a criminal investigation on the second one. We're sending a strong message. It's just not, giving the bad guys a heads up so they can escape apprehension. Right? We're arresting, giving, the Venezuela gang a heads up so we can't arrest them. You're putting officers' lives at risk. It's only a matter of time if we walk into a place where there's going to be a bad guy doesn't care. He's going to be sitting and wait for the officers to show up and ambush him. This is not a game. So DHS and DOJ are connected at hip to hold these people responsible in a criminal fashion.
So let's keep going with that. I got some more. So Tom Homan said we're going to prosecute. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with Tom Homan that we should prosecute people in the government, people in the FBI who've been leaking the information that's leading to ICE officers being put in harm's way. I already revealed how that Renee Good, Alex Purdy, when they got unalived, what was going on. And I showed that it was a congressperson in Minnesota who was helping and had a website help put together a database of vehicle license plates so that the anti-ICE protesters could get out at different places before they begin to stage and block and impede those ICE operations purposely and possibly cause violence and cause a type of reaction they call a Leo response that actually took place. Double tap at the like button. We're going right now to Ohio. People are having fear. Ohio, Donald Trump, Ohio governor, Ohio, and the ICE surge because of TPS being revoked. Now, check this out. We've been on this story going back to March. March is when Trump had the executive order to rescind TPS. Now, the liberal court said that Trump did not have the right to rescind TPS and went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court came back and said Trump had the right to remove TPS, not just for Haitians, but this is going to apply to Somalians and about 1 million people in total. They haven't given you the details to all of the people that TPS applies to. So yesterday, Trump signed the paper, TPS goes into effect, 350,000 Haitians got to go. A lot of Haitians so far have self-deported via the CBP app. That's the reality that we're dealing with right now. A lot of Haitians have self-deported via the CBP app, and now we're talking about the result and the sum of all things. Double tap at the like button, everybody watching right now. Double tap at the like button. We're talking about ICE. We're talking about crackdown, surges, Haitians, TPS. Let's get into it.
Donald Trump's toughest immigration challenge may not be coming from Democrats. It may be coming from a fellow Republican. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has called impending ICE operations targeting Haitian immigrants in Springfield a mistake, warning they could hurt the state's economy. Speaking to CBS, DeWine said, "It is not good for the United States. It is not good for the state of Ohio," describing Haitian immigrants as people who helped Springfield recover by opening businesses, creating jobs, and rebuilding neighborhoods. The debate follows the Trump administration's decision to end temporary protected status, or TPS, for Haitians after the Supreme Court allowed the policy to move forward.
I can say this, we will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela.
TPS is a humanitarian program that temporarily protects people from countries facing armed conflict or natural disasters. But the Department of Homeland Security can also end those protections when it determines conditions have changed. DeWine argues Ohio still depends on many Haitian workers, saying they have filled critical jobs and warning that deportations would be a blow to Springfield. He added, Haiti is hell today, arguing many would simply leave for another country rather than return. The Trump administration maintains TPS was always meant to be temporary, not a permanent immigration pathway. But DeWine's remarks highlight a growing debate within Republican ranks. That is, should immigration enforcement take priority, or should local economic realities shape how America First policies are implemented?
Put a one in the chat. We talking about that TPS being refunded. That's the Ohio governor talking about that they contribute.
Donald Trump's toughest immigrant.
What y'all think about TPS being removed? Double tap. Let's hear more details from the Ohio governor and the ICE surge that's going on in America right now. Double tap at the like button.
Immigrants who are set to lose their legal status here. What is your initial reaction to that?
Well, it's a mistake. It's not good for the United States, and it's not good for the state of Ohio. These are people who have helped Springfield really come back. Springfield has been making a real comeback. The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work, and they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people.
Immigrants who are set to lose their legal status here. What is your initial?
Jobs that were not being filled by other people. This is Ohio governor saying what Donald Trump did is wrong. Let me know how y'all feel about this in the chat. We talking about Haitians and TPS being removed. We talking about Haitians and TPS being removed, and we're hearing from the governor in Ohio because Donald Trump is launching brand new ICE surges in Ohio, New York, and Florida to help get rid of the 350,000 Haitians with the TPS removal. Double tap at the like button.
We just reported, Governor, that ICE is planning to mount a series of operations, including here in Ohio, to target, arrest, and ultimately deport some of the Haitian immigrants who are set to lose their legal status here. What is your initial reaction to that?
Well, it's a mistake. It's not good for the United States, and it's not good for the state of Ohio. These are people who have helped Springfield really come back. Springfield has been making a real comeback. The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work, and they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people. And so if you talk to the employers in Springfield who are employing the Haitians, they will tell you that. These are people who have opened restaurants, they've opened other businesses, they've rehabbed houses, they've created jobs as well as filled jobs. And so to lose them and have them not be able to work anymore and possibly, taken out of this country is frankly a blow to Springfield, and it's a blow to the state of Ohio. If you look at the growth we've had in Ohio, we've had some growth. 60% of that growth has come from immigrants.
And sir, have you received any notification, any communication from ICE about these planned operations?
I've received no notification, no.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all as far as what they're going to do.
That's not true. That's not true. We breaking the story. He said it's wrong.
We just reported, Governor.
I say Americans can fill those positions, and that's why Trump is doing it. Double tap at the like button. TPS being removed. Trump has a brand new ICE surge, ICE crackdown on the Haitians and the 350,000 in TPS removal after winning the Supreme Court victory. Double tap at the like button. Get the likes up, everybody. Let's go.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine claims President Trump's plans to deport illegal Haitians will be a mistake. DeWine told CBS News Monday Haitians are vital to his state's economy and to the city of Springfield in particular, where they are heavily concentrated. ICE plans to start deporting illegal Haitians as early as this week, following the Supreme Court ruling last month ending temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrians.
These are people who have helped Springfield really come back. Springfield has been making a real comeback. The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work, and they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people.
Springfield saw a sudden influx of Haitians in 2021, leading to a rise in traffic injuries and fatalities. These individuals are underrepresented when it comes to violent crime and property theft. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine claims President Trump's plans to deport illegal Haitians will be a mistake. DeWine told CBS News Monday Haitians are vital to his state's economy and to the city of Springfield in particular, where they are heavily concentrated. ICE plans to start deporting illegal Haitians as early as this week, following the Supreme Court ruling last month ending temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrians.
These are people who have helped Springfield really come back. Springfield has been making a real comeback. The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work, and they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people.
Springfield saw a sudden influx of Haitians in 2021, leading to a rise in traffic injuries and fatalities. These individuals are underrepresented when it comes to violent crime and property theft. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine claims President Trump's plans to deport illegal Haitians will be
ICE cracking down all over the place because Trump has rescinded TPS, and we just giving y'all the update. Double tap, hit the like button. Wise County, Texas detains a 59-year-old illegal alien, turns him over to ICE. Media immediately cries, but he has a valid work permit. I ain't gonna do that one. Two non-English speakers in Hesperia, California, vent about ICE detaining an illegal who was driving a very nice truck. Pretty safe to assume these are two illegals too. Not sure. Let's go to this. Let's go to ICE Live doing their thing, man. Kim Ketty in the building.
Que la raza sepa dónde están todos. ¿Qué más podemos hacer, no? Luego, si uno se pone el tú por tú, no le ganas, no ganas nada. Están haciendo su trabajo. Que le querían quebrar la ventana y... Pero, ¿por qué andan tapando?
Le dije a él que si puede sacar un fianza, agarrar un abogado y sacar un fianza, son 10,000. Entonces, él puede salir aquí 3 meses, quedarse aquí, que les diga que porque tiene cosas que arreglar. Con un fianza, y si le dejan los 10, después...
Y lo más gacho que es raza de lo que te los agarran.
Sí,
es lo más gacho.
Where the dog at? Where the dog coming from? Who got the dog? Who got the dog? This live ICE coverage, ICE on the ground. We coming to you live. It's California. ICE doing this thing, making sure America's safe. TPS has been removed for the Haitians, and now we got a crackdown coming. TPS has been removed for the Haitians. Donald Trump is launching an ICE surge in Ohio, Florida, and New York to remove the 350,000 Haitians that had TPS protection. And it's not just Haitians, it's also Somalians. Double tap the like button.
Why do you feel so strongly about this?
I think history tells us that this country was built with immigrants. My family came here in the 1840s, escaping the famine in Ireland. And my great-great-grandfather came to Yellow Springs and worked on the railroad, building the railroad at the time. There's always been a blend of people who are native to Ohio, who have been here for generations, but also people who come in. I think that this is a great opportunity, frankly, for President Trump. He has done a phenomenal job. His administration has done a phenomenal job in taking care of a huge problem. That problem was the southern border. The southern border is virtually now sealed. It's what we wanted. It's what people expected him to do and what he's been able to do. The fact that the border has not been sealed in the past and there's been a huge problem has caused this country not to be able to have a debate about legal immigration. I think that the president has the opportunity to turn this and to say, look, it's now time. We've got our border sealed. It's now time to have a discussion with the Congress and the American people. Who do we need in this country? Who is in our economic interest to have in this country? I'll give you one statistic. In Ohio, I think 22 or 23% of our physicians are foreign born. Our STEM workers, a large number of them are foreign born. These are just facts, and if a good debate will bring that out. We need to develop a immigration policy that is in the interest of the United States.
He sounds like he's okay with those stats and numbers. That's the whole thing why we voted for Trump. Put it in the chat, man. This is what it's all about, man. We want to get rid of these things, right? That's why we voted for Trump. We're not okay with these numbers. We're not okay that all of the doctors and scientists are foreign born. How about we improve American schools? That's why Trump got rid of the Department of Education. It's like you sound like you're the defeatist. I hear defeat. I don't hear support for America. I hear defeat. You know what I'm saying? That's why we voted for Trump. Because that's why we got rid of the Department of Education, because we want to create the doctors of the future. We don't want to import them anymore. How many of y'all agree with that?
Why do you feel so strongly about this?
I think history tells us that this country was built with immigrants. My family came here in the 1840s, escaping the famine in Ireland. And my great-great-grandfather came to Yellow Springs and worked on the railroad, building the railroad at the time. There's always been a blend of people who are native to Ohio, who have been here for generations, but also people who come in.
But those people came here legally. They didn't come here when the president, a sleepy Joe president, a mentally disturbed president. That's Kamala saying that Joe Biden was mentally not in his full capacity. You understand what I'm saying? You came here when America needed immigration. You came here legally through a process. I've talked about Ellis Island. I've talked about how we do mass immigration properly, where we have the names of everybody who come in. We have quarantine systems in case, because they had smallpox break out there. We had COVID this time, but there was no quarantine. There was no processing facilities. There was no landing for any of these immigrants. He just simply opened the border, and that's why it's led to so much crime and violence. So you can't compare the two. There actually is no comparison to what Joe Biden did and what America done previously when they opened up the borders and shores, because even then it was not a free-for-all, right? What Joe Biden did is unprecedented. It was not a free-for-all. You had to go through Ellis Island to be processed. And you were prosecuted if you had crimes back in your country. We still might let you in, but you would serve your time, and we would know you was a criminal. You wouldn't come into this country and we not know your criminal background, your medical background, whether or not you were pregnant, whether or not you had a family, so kids don't get lost. Imagine if we had did this correctly and Joe Biden had created a processing facility to actually support a logistical framework to actually support the bullshit he was saying. Then you could say it wasn't actually bullshit, but I call bullshit on Joe Biden, any liberal that say this bullshit, because if he really gave a fuck, and this is how children got sold, lost, and prostituted, because there was no soft landing. There was no processing. So a woman comes here in the Joe Biden model, and where does she go? She comes across the border thinking that Joe Biden was on TV. Now think about it. She's not American. She think America is the land of milk and honey. She didn't came here through a Venezuelan jungle, cross South America. Now she in America. She thought Americans would be waiting for her with their hands out, because Joe Biden said open the border. She get here and don't nobody give a fuck. And she pregnant. How does she have her baby? She pregnant with children. How does she feed and clothe those children? This no one ever breaks down the logistics of how families got separated and how children got trafficked at the border. They don't want to talk about it because you have to talk about Joe Biden's failure, logistical failure. For those of us who understand logistics and project management, that's how mothers got separated from children. That's how children got separated from families, because they came across the border and there was nothing here. Are you pregnant? Come with me. Oh, you a child, you 16, or your mom died in the war, you don't have no parents, come with me. There was none of that.
I think that this is a great opportunity, frankly, for President Trump. He has done a phenomenal job. His administration has done a phenomenal job in taking care of a huge problem. That problem was the southern border. The southern border is virtually now sealed. It's what we wanted. It's what people expected him to do and what he's been able to do. The fact that the border has not been sealed in the past and there's been a huge problem has caused this country not to be able to have a debate about legal immigration. I think that the president has the opportunity to turn this and to say, look, it's now time. We've got our border sealed. It's now time to have a discussion with the Congress and the American people. Who do we need in this country? Who is in our economic interest to have in this?
Americans. Oh my God. Do you hear this shit? Who do we need in this country? Americans. That's who we need in the country. What is he talking about, bro? We need Americans in the country. God, dog. Who do we need in this country? We need Americans in the country, bro. That's what we need in the country.
In this country. I'll give you one statistic. In Ohio, I think 22 or 23% of our physicians are foreign born. Our STEM workers, a large number of them are foreign born. These are just facts, and a good debate will bring that out. We need to develop a immigration policy that is in the interest of the United States.
Yeah, I agree. In the interest of the United States citizen, bro. We need and that's why we voted for Trump, because we believe that we need an immigration system that's in favor of the American citizen, right? And you seem like you want the immigration system to favor people who are not Americans. That's what I kept hearing, right? That's what I kept hearing. What was y'all hearing, right? Let's keep going. We got another one, man, on this ice front. Video reveals open drug use at MacArthur Park in Los Angeles. Nick Shirley got a couple videos today. This is the first Nick Shirley video we're going to get into. Content creator Nick Shirley, 23-year-old, posted a 100-second video from MacArthur Park on July 29th showing addicts using fentanyl openly in encampments and dealers with him getting chased near to the end. The park west of downtown LA has long battled homelessness, poverty, and the county's highest overdose deaths. Targeted as a fentanyl and meth market by authorities, recent operations free MacArthur Park raids led to arrest of major suppliers, and Mayor Karen Bass pledged LAPD resources against drugs while pushing for more treatment and service amid critics' calls for stronger actions. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's get into it, you guys. Nick Shirley, I like Nick Shirley, with another update from MacArthur Park on this same ice hype. Let's see Nick Shirley, and I got another Nick Shirley video about Ilhan Omar. Let's get into it. Double tap, hit the like button. Nick Shirley live in LA, MacArthur Park.
Go show them your life. All right. Welcome here to MacArthur Park here in downtown Los Angeles. Lots of things are happening here. We're just gonna give you a glimpse of MacArthur Park. So that's one entryway into MacArthur Park. Now we're heading over to the main entrance. This place has been getting raided pretty frequently recently because of all the drug activity that's taken place. And it's rumored that the surrounding areas are ran by cartels in a lot of these shops and whatnot, and there've been a few busts as well that have taken place. Just at the bus stop, you have people shooting up right there, and this is the main entry into MacArthur Park right here. If you look behind me, there's a bunch of people doing all sorts of drugs. They actually have their drugs laid out on the park bench. The guy's in a wheelchair right now. One of the effects of fentanyl is it does go after your limbs and cut away from your bloodstream, so a lot of people do lose their own limbs from the fentanyl that they use. How's it going? We're just showing people what's going on here. We're just showing what's going on here. Go show them your life. Don't just show people shit. Okay. All right. So We've been here for a few minutes and now we're out. Just like that, we have gotten kicked out of the park already by the drug dealers and the users themselves. That was really fast. And currently, right now, with everything that's going on here inside California, Gavin Newsom and his wife are currently underneath investigation. And right now in Polymarket, it says there's a 23% chance that Gavin Newsom or his wife will be federally charged by December 31st, 2026. It's a bit crazy what's going on here inside California, and this is just a small glimpse of it here in MacArthur Park.
So that was him in California. We're going to double back to that. The other story I got is one of our favorite topics. We are the world. We are the children. Somalians came here and stole 19 billion. 19 billion. They built learning centers, but the children didn't learn shit. Then Ilhan Omar stole 30 million. She stole 30 million. Double tap hit the like button. Join the channel, man. Thank you to all of my members, man. I just subscribed to everybody that became a member recently, man. I want to say again, thank you to everybody who became a member. Like, share, subscribe. #1 podcast on YouTube for political and geopolitical debate. We got this Nick Shirley news update. Journalist delivers accounting for dummies to Ilhan Omar's office over disclosure drop. Shirley's Monday stunt drew attention to Omar's household assets falling from 6 million to 30 million in 2024. Disclosures to just 18,000 to 95,000 and amend the 2025 filing, a 99.68% drop. Her office blamed an account error that overlooked liabilities from her husband, 10 minutes white man with a white penis, third husband after marrying her brother, strict Somalian is Islamic person with multiple husbands now sucking upon a white penis. She's blaming it all on the white penis, her husband, 10 Minutes consulting firm. The move ties into Shirley's probe of empty Somali-run daycare centers in Minneapolis, scamming millions in the state child care funds, including one center that pocketed $1.9 million before closing. Critics like House Oversight Chairman James Comer have called for ethics probes in Minnesota's border fraud scandals, though Omar disses them as political attacks and no charges have surfaced. She needs to be charged. Put a 1 in the chat if we should charge Ilhan Omar. Put a 1 in the chat if we should charge Ilhan Omar. Here is Nick Shirley with Accounting for Dummies talking about Ilhan Omar fraudulent ways and her fraudulent filings after she been married to her brother, a couple other Muslim men, and now she's married to the white penis. Double tap hit the like button, everybody.
Today we are here in Washington, D.C. Ilhan Omar's net worth went from a miraculous $6 to $30 million to just now $95,000. So today we're bringing her a gift. We have the Accounting for Dummies book right here. And also, it's summertime. It's getting hot outside. We're bringing her a Learning Center t-shirt. Here we go. We've made it to Ilhan Omar's office. Let's see if she answers. Hello, is Ilhan here?
The congresswoman's not here.
She's not here? She's never here. Well, it's summertime. I got her a new Learning Center hoodie, or t-shirt, because it's hot outside. And then I also brought her an accounting book, because her net worth has had some weird fluctuations from $30 million to now just $95,000. So if you could give these to her, I'd be greatly appreciative of that. And it is summertime, so she should be able to wear the new t-shirt. Thank you so much. Ilhan Omar officially has a Quality Learning t-shirt, and she has an accounting book that she can then give to her accountant because certified Lear, those math numbers just don't make any sense. And if you want to get yourself a Quality Learning Center hoodie and support the work I'm doing, go to antifraudclub.com. Thank you very much.
Nick Shirley doing his thing out here, man, exposing the fraud. Double tap, hit the like button. Nick Shirley out here exposing the fraud left and right. Oh, man. What else we got? Trump. Let's go to this. Trump roast CNN, Caitlin Collins at rescheduled correspondence dinner. Let's get into that, man. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Coming to you with all that fire, red, MAGA red meat. Because it's All we do is win Wednesday. All we do is win, win, win. And if you came from MAGA, put your hands in the air. Let them stay there. Trump roast CNN Caitlin Collins at rescheduled correspondence dinner at the July 24th, 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington, D.C. President Trump congratulated CNN Caitlin Collins on her award for White House coverage, then mocked it as fake and centered on him. He urged the young, attractive woman to smile more, joked she starred in the Bud Light ad with Dylan Mulvaney, and later posted an AI image blending their faces. Collins responded gracefully on The Daily Show and Instagram, focusing on her journalism amid the online divide over the remarks. Donald Trump at it again. Double tap hit the like button. Going after Caitlin, comparing her to Dylan Mulvaney on the Bud Light bottle. Let's get into it. Double tap hit the like button.
I've covered Trump for 10 years. And so I've listened to pretty much all of his speeches.
I'm listening to pretty much. Look at her face. Look at her face. Yeah, man. She got roasted by President Trump. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. You got roasted. Listen, Trump can't do a joke. This is Jimmy Kimmel can make a joke about Trump dying. Jimmy Kimmel can make a joke about Trump's wife being a widow. But Trump makes a joke and they can't, and then they want to whine and cry.
He walked up to me.
Trump makes a joke and they want to whine and cry. What is the issue with Trump's joke? I don't have an issue with Trump's joke.
Congratulate CNN's Caitlin Collins on receiving her award.
Caitlin Collins. I didn't want to do it. Caitlin Collins. Look at you, look like Dylan Mulvaney. Caitlin, have a Bud Light. Was it last side? Caitlin Collins. Right side, have a Bud Light. Have a Bud Light on me, Caitlin. Have a Bud Light. Right side. Double tap. Let me get right side in the chat.
I want to personally congratulate CNN's Caitlin Collins. On receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake, but I
love it. I love it.
I want a petition. You're at CNN fake news. You should be a happy person. Just smile, Caitlin. Just smile. But we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the word. We attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial. I want to personally congratulate CNN's Caitlin Collins.
Caitlin Collins. I want to personally thank CNN's Caitlin Collins. Me too, man. Trump is a dog, man. Trump is a dog. What else I got updates, man? Oh, so Ronnie Mondani with my brother Jesse. Let's get into it. Let's tee it up, man. Justin, Ugandan mayor Mondani is facing outrage for publicly posting a searchable database of wealthy property owners in NYC. The city just posted a searchable list of every homeowner on the hook for his new tax names, addresses, 30,000 of them. A socialist mayor handing out a Rolodex of the rich in the city that just watched the CEO get gunned down on the sidewalk. Sounds like a hit list. Tell me what y'all think about this. Ronnie Mondani doxing all of the wealthy people in New York. Double tap hit the like button. Tell me what y'all think about this expose coming in from my brother Jesse.
Because if you own property in his town, he knows exactly where you live. The city just posted a searchable list of every homeowner on the hook for his new tax. Names, addresses, 30,000 of them. A socialist mayor handing out a Rolodex of the rich in a city that just watched a CEO get gunned down on the sidewalk. Sounds like a hit list. You got a problem with it? Go protest. It's what the city's there for anyway.
I think one of the bedrocks of our city is protest. It is something that has been a part of what makes our city so special, that New Yorkers can express themselves, whether they are in support or in opposition, no matter on whatever topic.
Protest? The city runs on capitalism and cocktails. Appetizer, because if you own property in his town, he knows exactly where you live.
Do y'all agree with Mondani's move to dox all of the rich and wealthy people? Do you all agree with Mondani doxing people? I think it's a law against that, but socialist mayor, DSA, Mondani doxing the rich. Double tap at the like button.
Because if you own property in his town, he knows exactly where you live. The city just posted a searchable list of every homeowner on the hook for his new tax. Names, addresses, 30,000 of them. A socialist mayor handing out a Rolodex of the rich in a city that just watched a CEO get gunned down on the sidewalk. Sounds like a hit list. You got a problem with it? Go protest. It's what the city's there for anyway.
I think one of the bedrocks of our city is protest. It is something that has been a part of what makes our city so special, that New Yorkers can express themselves, whether they are in support or in opposition, no matter on whatever topic.
Protest? The city runs on capitalism and cocktails. Appetizer, because if you own property in his town, he knows exactly where.
Let's go to our other lead story. Fauci. How much of y'all been watching this Fauci? Let's get a Fauci update. Fauci just pled guilty. Fauci just took the Fifth Amendment, and Fauci pleads the Fifth. Fifth, F-I-F, Fifth. Can I say it one more time? Fifth. There are so many amendments. It's so many amendments. It's hard to choose one. I can only choose one. I can only choose one. I choose the Fifth. I choose the Fifth. With so many amendments in the Constitution, I can only choose one. I choose the Fifth. I choose the Fifth. F-I-F, Fifth. Fifth. Fauci goes and takes the Fifth Amendment, auto pen, midnight pardon. Fauci takes the Fifth. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Double tap hit the like button. #1 podcast on YouTube. I got your Fauci update. Let's get into it, man. Fauci pleads the Fifth Amendment in Senate hearing on pandemic role. During a Wednesday Senate hearing chaired by Senator Rand Paul, Dr. Anthony Fauci cited the Fifth Amendment over 100 times. And so many amendments, I can only choose one. I choose the Fifth. Fifth. I choose the Fifth. I plead the Fifth. Anthony Fauci. Over 100 times. Oh my goodness, can't make this shit up, man. Fifth Amendment over 100 times, declining to answer questions about COVID-19 policies, viruses, origins, and discrepancies between his public statements and private diary entries released earlier that week. Paul removed Fauci's attorney from the room for disrupting proceedings, while Republicans accused Fauci of avoiding accountability despite his preemptive pardon from the prior administration. The sessions highlighted ongoing partisan divides over the pandemic response, with Fauci's diaries revealing his earlier doubts on the origins, school closures, and his sudden fame. There's so many amendments. I can only choose one. I choose the Fifth. I choose the Fifth. I choose the Fifth. Okay, this what's this? This like 3 hours. We ain't doing 3 hours. Let's see what we got. I choose the Fifth. F-I-F, Fifth. Anthony Fauci takes the Fifth Amendment 100 times. He don't got shit to say today. He had a lot to say when it came time for you to see your grandmother. He had a lot to say when it came time for you to see your kids. He ain't got shit to say today, though. Double tap hit the like button. Anthony Fauci being questioned about his role in COVID policies. He takes the Fifth 100 times.
Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because of the respect I have for the legislative branch of government and my decades-long record of cooperating with Congress, under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions.
I plead the fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth, over 100 times. Thank you, Joe Biden. This is all the work of Joe Biden. Joe Biden, double tap, hit the like button. Thank you, Democrats, because he pleaded the Fifth, and Joe Biden gave him a pardon. Fauci faces tough Senate questions over diary.
People miss their prom or graduation ceremonies. There were lots of things that happened that dramatically changed the future of the country.
It did.
Mental health issues that we have continued to deal with from the isolation have been profound. Even something as simple as children that wore masks or around adults wearing masks for all that time are slower in learning language now because they couldn't watch someone's lips moving, and so they're slower in that. Amazingly enough, churches and places of worship were forced to be closed down. There were even churches that met where the pastor preached in the parking lot and the congregants all met in their cars with windows up, and police came and scattered them and said, "You can't be here." The simple act of social distancing became an issue as everyone guessed what's the right distance to be away from someone else. Literacy rates have declined. All these things are results, not to mention the loss of lives and the health experiences that have been out there for many Americans. So there are legitimate questions. I wanted to be able to raise some of those, to be able to walk through some of this, because it has been very, very challenging. As we've gone through some of your notes and your diary and other things that are out there, we're trying to be able to pull bits and pieces of things to be able to learn lessons. On May the 6th, 2020, you wrote at that time, I had a conversation with Robert Redfield, as you know well, was then the director of CDC, about the fact that greater than 1 million children worldwide have missed their measles vaccination because of the shutdown. You stated, this is terrible and needs to be addressed, since on that basis alone, there would be far more excess deaths from measles among children than coronavirus deaths among children. I need to bring this up to the TF, the task force. Did you ever have an opportunity to bring up the potential of measles deaths among children and an infection rate going around the world from measles based on the fact that so many children would not get their measles vaccine because of the shutdown?
I'm sorry, Senator, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
That is your right to do. One of the big issues is really coming up is on the lab issue. This was greatly discussed about whether this came from a lab or whether this came from nature. There are obvious issues and differences between the two to be able to know this. You had a lot of conversation on this. Scientists around the world were in conversation on this. There were different statements that you even made in your private notes and your public notes on it. In January the 26th of 2020, this is before we had our first tragic death of coronavirus in the United States. You wrote, it now appears using epi data that the genomic data, the first infection was in early December and was not connected to the market, which was the big rumor that was out there, is this wet market in China. We know the market was not the source, it was the amplifier. On January the 31st, you wrote about a phone call. You wrote the people on the phone felt the mutations around the furin cleavage site of the spike protein could not have occurred naturally, since it would require an evolutionary jump that they found nowhere in bat isolates. They bring up the possibility this could have been deliberately inserted and either accidentally released or deliberately released by a crazy person in the lab, the former being the most likely. February the 1st, same year, 2020. This is again still before our first death. There was not total agreement about the likelihood of deliberate insertion. Ron said he was sure that this could occur naturally and we should not waste our time and divert our effort to pursue this. This is expected of him since he was the original gain of function person with Yoshi. Also, Christian was withdrawn. The rest felt deliberate insertion was possible, and given the fact that Dr. Jingling Shi at the University of Wuhan has been working for years in gain of function in coronaviruses to allow adaptation of the spike protein to bind to the human ACE2 receptor, we could not let this go. That's a remarkable statement for February the 1st of 2020, when there hadn't even been the first death here, but we knew something was moving. You knew well that something was moving. You identified February the 1st, before any of us had ever heard of the Wuhan lab, not only the Wuhan lab in the conversation, but literally the scientist that you named in your own notes, the lead scientist that was there. It's interesting to me on that. And the questions I was going to ask you was just your background and knowledge about the Wuhan lab and Dr. Shi and all the details. I'm aware of where you have been on trying to be able to plead your Fifth Amendment right, which is your right to be able to do. But I also want to be able to find out some facts to be able to help us for the future on this. The Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in May of 2020 put out a classified document that has only been recently unclassified on this, that had this statement: we assess all the necessary conditions for an accidental release of a laboratory modified coronavirus, specifically a coronavirus adapted to recognize human cell receptors, were present at the Chinese Wuhan Institute of Virology in mid to late 2019. Now, the question that I had for you is, this is May the 27th of 2020. This is the report that most people will see, is this. I have clearance. I serve on the Intelligence Committee. I've actually read this complete document unredacted. My concern is, were you given the ability to see this document unredacted? Based on your position, were you able to see this and to be able to get this information? I could see it, and I know what's here. Everybody else just has their conclusion at the beginning of it, not this. My question to you was going to be, did you have access? Because it's important for the future that people in your position do have access to this kind of information and insight. Is there any way you could answer that question? Were you able to give access to this data?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
He wasn't even listening, bro. He don't love and respect her. This person never should have been in the position. If that's how you're going to handle it, you shouldn't be in that position, because you don't have the character. You don't have the character that it takes to fill those shoes. Because when it comes time to pay the piper, you're supposed to stand up. When you put so many people's life in danger and so many people couldn't see their grandparents, and now you're going to be a coward and hide behind the Fifth Amendment in pardons, yeah, man, Fauci's a puss, man.
But he was subpoenaed here to testify, refused to answer any questions, even after being directed by the chair and being advised of the law requiring him to do so. He has cited a privilege that is unsupported because of his blanket pardon and because he waived the privilege by testifying at the start. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
Wow. So because he won't answer any question, Rand Paul going after him for arrest. I think he should. Rand Paul going after him for arrest. He said, you have a pardon. Remember, this happened in the YSL trial. Anybody remember the YSL trial when Woody was compelled to actually answer the question or face jail time? And what this has happened a lot. I've seen this a lot in this legal argument. Once you've been given a pardon or once you've been given immunity, there's no more need for you not to answer the question. At that point, the court can now force you to answer the question. How many people are aware of that? The court can now force you to answer the question because it's in the best interest of the public, right? And you have a pardon. There's no reason for you to have any fear. So now I can force you to answer the question. And he said, because you did not answer the question after being told you no longer have a legal right, your privilege has been removed. A lot of people didn't understand that in the YSL trial with Woody, how Woody was made to still testify. Your privilege has been removed. You've received a pardon. Now that you've received the pardon, you can't be prosecuted. This body, this is a legal body. This is a legal body, the House. This is a legal body. I understand you have a pardon. But that is not the end of the law, is what he's explaining to him. The law doesn't stop at your pardon. You just can't just throw around the Fifth Amendment. You have a pardon. There's no fear of prosecution. I can now force you to answer the questions. Just like they did to Woody in the YSL trial. You have immunity. There's nothing there's no fear of you being prosecuted. The judge now can force you by law to answer. Because now I've granted you immunity. You have to answer the question or you could be prosecuted and go to prison. And Rand Paul just said, we're gonna have a vote next week to hold you in contempt. And the next step is the the penalty of contempt. Double tapping the like button. Everybody watching right now. We watching the Fauci Fauci diaries come out, and just explosive information in the Fauci diaries. This leads to this investigation on Capitol Hill. Fauci takes the Fifth Amendment over 100 times. Double tap the like button, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Perfect Timing Podcast. Get the likes up right now in the chat. Everybody today, get the likes up. Double tap the like button, y'all.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
And I support the committee in that resolution. He should be prosecuted, held in contempt, and prosecuted because, like I just explained, he has no legal right anymore. He has no legal right, and there's no two systems of justice. Fauci needs to be held accountable. Fauci needs to be held accountable. He was asked question after question today. He took the Fifth Amendment over 100 times, but he
not to sit at the table.
He took the Fifth Amendment over 100 times, but he was not quiet when it was time to make sure you took an unproven vaccine and you couldn't see your grandmother. Double tap hit the like button. Fauci on Capitol Hill invoking the Fifth Amendment 100 times after receiving a midnight presidential pardon. Let me know how you feel about it in the chat. How did his COVID decisions affect you?
You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Thank you. Fucking criminals. Criminals. They fucking criminals and they know it. He can speak for his fucking self. If you're going to take the Fifth Amendment, let him take the Fifth Amendment. Get your ass up out of here. Get his ass up out of here. He taking too damn long. It don't take that fucking long. Get your ass up out of there. Put his ass in cuffs.
Let the record state that Dr.
One more time, man. Anthony Fauci acting a damn fool on Capitol Hill, man. Anthony Fauci diary comes out where Anthony Fauci admits he was a fame whore. Anthony Fauci was a fame whore. He didn't have backing. He didn't have knowledge to make the decisions that he made. He wanted to be on television. He wanted to be at dinner parties with Jake Trapper. He wanted the fame. He was a fame whore and a liar. He's been pardoned by Biden in the midnight auto pen. And now on Capitol Hill, when it comes to be accountability for the American people, the grandparents, the children that suffer under his goddamn policies, he wants to take the Fifth Amendment, and then this clown wants to speak up for him. I say prosecute them both. Let's watch it one more time. Double tap at the like button. You're watching Perfect Summer Podcast, #1 podcast on YouTube. We're discussing the Fauci fraud.
Not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
That should have been the last one. He should have been removed right then. That whole
So,
very
Mr. Chairman,
well.
I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
Who the hell is that?
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise. His lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Anthony Fauci I want to say testifying on Capitol Hill, but he doesn't testify. Anthony Fauci being subpoenaed on Capitol Hill and then takes the Fifth Amendment over 100 times when asked about his role in COVID policies after the diary exposes his fear and his fame whoremongery.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the f do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
Amen.
I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did.
Amen.
You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Does Anthony Fauci go down in history, American history, as a disgrace? Put a 1 in the chat. Double tap at the like button. Anthony Fauci, I want to say testifying, but instead he takes the Fifth Amendment over 100 times after his diary comes out. And in the diary, we find out that Anthony Fauci was a fame whore. Anthony Fauci was a fame whore who cared more about White House dinners and fame and accolades than actually protecting the health of American citizens. It's actually sad, but it's true. But a lot of us speculated. Now we know. Double tap at the like button. Anthony Fauci, fraud watch.
They showed dozens of safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, cerebral artery occlusion, basal ganglia stroke, agonal rhythm, Bell's palsy, and pulmonary infarction. Your diaries now show that you actually suffered pulmonary infarction in, I think, probably June 2021. I was just wondering whether it ever went through your mind that maybe that injection, all those boosters you took, might have caused that. And the question I was going to, and I'll ask this question: were you ever made aware of the fact that Peter Marks was warned that the algorithm was going to hide the safety signals? And were you told that senior FDA officials were given shown dozens of safety signals associated with the COVID injection?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
That'll be all, sir. Good afternoon.
That'll be all, sir. Good afternoon, Anthony Fauci. And I take the Fifth. I take the Fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the f do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
I agree. I agree. Let's go to the 5. Let's go to the 5. Jesse and the 5 on the Fauci fraud. Put a 1 in the chat. Do you agree? Should Fauci be prosecuted? And should the people who pardoned Fauci be prosecuted? Let's get into it.
If he lies, he can be prosecuted.
That's right.
And so we also know we have evidence that he destroyed evidence. So if he comes out and tells Paul, I didn't do it, boom, felony. You got him. Right. Americans are so jaded about politics because there's so much injustice and no one ever pays the price. I mean, this guy was wrong about everything and it's all documented. It's like when you make one mistake, you could be like, yeah, I screwed up. I'm sorry. But if you made hundreds of mistakes and lots of people died, what do you say? At the very minimum, he should lose his medical license. And he actually had a vaccine injury at one point. And then he lied and said the vaccine's fine. Meanwhile, he had a clot. So all these stars are on his jock because they want him to be their personal doc. You know how it is. They call them the jock sniffers, the star fluffers, the groupies. This is him. All right.
Any more names?
He wants to be their personal doctor because he feels guilty that he blew it on the lab leak and is seeking fame and glory to treat a guilty conscience. And we all know how much the stars love the lockdowns. We could all go to our lake homes, our beach houses, and no one would bother us. So we wanted it to go on as long as possible. The only person we saw was our assistant, but then we kicked him right out of the house after they delivered our goods. His reputation now is in tatters, and probably that's the most painful thing. But the media is still covering for this guy because it doesn't even matter that 1 million Americans died. He got Trump out of office, and in a way, he was the bioweapon. He was the one thing that could take out Donald Trump. But you know what? Trump came back. I'm a little worried.
Like COVID.
He did. Long COVID, Jessica.
Donald Trump is long COVID.
He's long COVID.
Fauci on Capitol Hill. Can't say testifying because he took the 5th Amendment 100 times. Fauci was subpoenaed. He showed up, but he did not testify. He took the 5th Amendment 100 times. Did you guys know that?
And when the evidence is uncertain, officials need to say so. When recommendations are based on assumptions rather than hard data, they need to say so. And when they get something wrong, they need to own it. And when the trust is lost and the consequences extend far beyond any single pandemic, the next time public health officials genuinely need Americans to listen, millions of people may simply ignore them or not believe them. And Dr. Fauci, you were undeniably the face of the federal government's COVID response. You said so yourself in your diary. You said it's not hyperbole to say, I've become the most famous and talked about person in the country. So I want to understand how we got here. Let's start at the beginning. On March 8th, 2020, you appeared on 60 Minutes to discuss the spread of COVID-19. You were specifically asked to clear up the confusion and misinformation surrounding masks. You told the American people, right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with a mask. The interviewer immediately stopped you and said, are you sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this. And instead of walking back or qualifying your statement in any way, you doubled down. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little better. It might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with their masks. They keep touching their face. Just a few weeks later, the CDC released its guidance recommending that Americans wear masks in public. You were asked to explain your original recommendation. You emphasized a very different consideration. You said, well, back then, the critical issue was to save the masks for the people who really needed them because it was felt there was a shortage of masks. So I want everybody to sit with that. The critical issue driving your initial recommendation to the American public was scarcity, logistics, not medical evidence. So when you told the American people there was no reason to wear a mask, what was your principal objective? Giving them an honest assessment of the medical evidence or discouraging them from consuming a scarce supply of masks?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
If he lies, he can be prosecuted.
That's right.
And so we also know we have evidence that he destroyed evidence. So if he comes out and tells Paul, I didn't do it, boom, felony. You got him.
Right.
Americans are so jaded about politics because there's so much injustice and no one ever pays the price. I mean, this guy was wrong about everything, and it's all documented. It's like when you make one mistake, you could be like, yeah, I screwed up, I'm sorry. But if you made hundreds of mistakes and lots of people died, what do you say? At the very minimum, he should lose his medical license. And he actually had a vaccine injury at one point. And then he lied and said the vaccine's fine. Meanwhile, he had a clot. So all these stars are on his jock because they want him to be their personal doc. You know how it is. They call them the jock sniffers, the star fluffers, the groupies. This is him. All right.
Any more names?
And he's writing about the press like it's a woman that he's sleeping with. Here's some quotes.
Or dreamed of.
Right. The press is still hot and heavy about me. The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. The press is going wild with me. But he also writes about himself, like it's like self-pleasure. He writes, the donuts are being named after me. T-shirts have my picture on them. And San Francisco radio is dedicating a song to me. It goes on. And what this is really about is he's treating his guilty conscience because he knows he funded gain of function that slipped out of that Wuhan lab and infected millions of people. He writes in his diary the COVID fatality rate's like 0.2%. Goes on TV, he says it's like 3%. He's bragging in his little diary that he told de Blasio and Newsom to shut everything down, then goes on TV and says, I never told anybody to shut anything down. And then he tells everybody to go get vaxxed, you couldn't catch it. And then he writes in his diary, oh yeah, people are catching it. And then he tells people don't have Thanksgiving dinner. Month before, he's having dinner with Jake Tapper.
Wow. Kennedy.
What do Fauci's private diaries reveal most to you?
Well, let me add one thing to that kind of litany of parade of horribles that we just saw. We had in our country, because of Dr. Fauci's leadership and other reasons, we had the highest mortality rate from COVID of any country in the world. So we literally did worse than any nation in the world. We had a death rate in our country of 3,000 per million population. There were other countries, for example, Africa, all the countries in Africa averaged about 350 deaths, so 1/10 of what we had in this country. There were nations like Nigeria and Haiti that had 14 per million population, so 1/200th of what we had. We could not have done better. The mismanagement of this pandemic and these diaries, and then the media malpractice that told us all we had to trust the experts, and that he was the expert that they elevated. And anybody who did not give complete blind faith to these expert opinions, which we now know were lies, was marginalized, vilified, demonized, censored.
Canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I pointed out that this almost certainly came from the Wuhan lab, and I lost my my Instagram was canceled with 1 million followers for misinformation. I never put any misinformation up. I put up all the things that we now know are true, and it was called misinformation, and the press was part of this collaboration. It was corrupt, and it did tremendous damage to the media in this country and to America's faith in that very important democratic institution. It also did incalculable damage to public health. My agency, when I walked into it, had a less than 30% trust from the American people, down from about 80% before the pandemic. Americans no longer trust public health.
That's terrible.
Because they were lied to. And you asked about the diaries. And we produced these, it took us about 8 months to dig these out of 11 separate servers where they had been sequestered and secreted. And we handed them over this week to Rand Paul and Ron Johnson because they already have ongoing investigations and should see this. But I think the starkest impression that you get from reading these diaries is this massive dichotomy between what he was saying privately and what he was simultaneously saying publicly. He says in his diaries on January 30th that the Wuhan lab could not possibly be the source of the virus.
Oh, we know that was all
And
false.
then, well, we all know it, but
Yeah.
now his diary, he says he knew that, and yet for 2 years he told us that
But
was.
he was given a pardon prospectively from the last administration. We don't know if it was an auto pen pardon. It doesn't really matter for legality purposes. But Americans want to know, a lot of them, is there going to be any accountability for trillions of dollars lost, children's education destroyed, and public health reputation, public health industry reputation shattered?
Yeah, and millions of people injured. He lied about masks. He lied about social distancing. He lied about the transmission. He lied about natural immunity. He lied about the capacity, as you just said, of the vaccine to prevent infection, to prevent it. He got vaccinated a very, very public press conference in January of 2020. And then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody. He got treated for it privately by the best doctors in America. At the same time, he was telling everybody that that was not an adverse event.
Is there anything else we're missing from these diaries that has not been released that you can share with us tonight?
I don't think, I mean, I have to say a lot of this stuff is in my book, but based upon other documents. But there's something very dramatic, even for me, of seeing him write it in his own journal, confessing to being wrong, to lying about all
Also
this
loving his own press. I mean, they're going on and on. Well, I'm the most famous person in the world, internationally and nationally. I can't even go out to a restaurant because people want to take pictures of me. I mean, even if that was true, but why would you write it? That's just a bizarre thing. For all they say about Trump, Trump's an egomaniac. That's all they say about Trump. He has a healthy ego, for sure. Anyone who's president is. But this was America's doctor, Mr. Secretary. Why would he waste time talking about how beloved he is?
Yeah, I mean, and the worst part is that giddy narcissism that you see throughout the diary is juxtaposed against really bad public health decisions. So his focus was on self-promotion, clearly, and nobody can read these diaries and say this is a political response. His focus was on promoting himself, on getting on TV, and not doing public health.
Didn't he get some award? He's working at Georgetown, I believe, or got some position at Georgetown. What do you say to Georgetown University tonight?
Well, I say read the diaries. Read, and then, you asked about the possibility of him actually facing justice.
He's a professor there.
He's going to testify in front of Rand Paul's committee this week. He has immunity against all of the things that he did prior to President Biden signing, or the electronic pen signing his pardon, but he could perjure himself now. Well, there are many things that he said that we know are lies, and Rand Paul presumably is going to ask him about those things. And if he lies again, then he could be subject to perjury prosecution.
I hope you'll come back because I don't think we've seen the end of this. You have done an incredible job in your book on this topic. A lot of people wish they hadn't gotten that shot. A lot of people that come up to that, I wish I never did it. I was scared. I wanted to travel. They scared people into getting an experimental shot. That itself is like, that's taking away our human liberties.
Yeah, and one of the, you know what, I'll be very
It was Beatlemania. Dear Diary, there were the usual selfies galore. Fauci didn't complain. He was in no rush. Most doctors fighting a pandemic would skip the selfies and get straight to work. Not him. He bathed in the attention. Deep down, he knew the virus wasn't that deadly. He'd inflated the fatality rate. If he told the truth, the country wouldn't lock down, and Hollywood, who loved being alone in their mansions, undisturbed, wouldn't beckon. Dear Diary, Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear Diary, Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as her guest. What fun. Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan, and we did not have masks. Obviously, Fauci knew the mask mandate was a ruse, but had to keep up appearances. And as we read deeper into the diary, it appears Fauci thought celebrities were sexually attracted to him. Dear Diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage, presented to me virtually by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen to get a glass of water. Fauci was hot. Later, they had a second date.
How rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have?
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is a thrill for me. You truly have emerged as a personal hero for me.
Fauci wrote about that too. Says he was a little embarrassed when Julia Roberts said, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Fauci," but he did like being called her personal hero. Stars will call you a hero if you let them stay home from work. Hollywood got a 2-year vacation thanks to Fauci's orders, so he made a lot of friends in high places, even though most American lives were being throttled.
I want to hear from you in the chat. I want to hear from you about your testimonies. How did these decisions affect you? How do you feel about the decision that he chose to take the Fifth Amendment over 100 times? A lot of people had, lost loved ones during this time. A lot of people, how do you feel about finally people being able to admit that they felt pressured? And now, how do you feel knowing that Anthony Fauci actually had an adverse reaction? There's a lot to unpack about what you're learning today. We're talking about Anthony Fauci's diary that reveals a lot. It led to him being subpoenaed to Capitol Hill, where Anthony Fauci has decided to take the Fifth Amendment over 100 times. In his diary, he admits that the vaccine efficacy was not what he said publicly. He admits about masks not being beneficial, contradicting everything he said publicly. And when being asked about it after a midnight auto pen, he's relying on his pardon and over 100 times took the Fifth Amendment. I want to know from you in the chat, how do you feel about this? We all lived through this time. We all lived through this time. It touched all of us some way and somehow. Now to learn that this individual required a pardon. I just, for me, why do you need a pardon? Now we get the diary. Now we learn why. Double tap at the like button.
For any amount of time was a devastatingly dumb thing to do. Locking the elderly in convalescent homes, just like locking children out of the schools, was cruel and totally unnecessary. And more than anyone, Anthony Fauci, the governors and mayors who blindly followed him, and the press who deified him are responsible for that fallout. Now, speaking of the press, it turns out that Tony was texting and dining companions with journalists over at CNN. In an April 2020 diary entry, Fauci wrote that Jake Tapper texted me saying sarcastically, "Hard to believe Laura Ingraham went to Dartmouth. Isn't it? All of us alumni are very proud." Obviously sarcastic. Of course, objective newsman Tapper ran defense for Fauci the entire pandemic. But in these entries, we see him in all of his mean girl glory. When people were told they should limit their socializing in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area, the Tappers had Tony over for dinner on at least 2 occasions, described by Fauci as friendship building and a relaxed good time. Fauci wrote that Tapper thought Trump was totally nuts at another dinner. Now, the two of them really should have just done a Bud Light commercial. I love you, man. Now, by the way, 1 month after the Trump trashing couple enjoyed an intimate dinner together, they floated some bad holiday news to the rest of America.
So not until the second or third quarter of 2021, though. Christmas is probably not going to be possible.
Yeah, well, you know, it's going to be a gradual accrual of more normality as the weeks and the months go by.
Oh, yeah, no Christmas, no Thanksgiving, unless you're at the Tapper's house. Then it's fun. Now, that act of theirs was almost as bad as Chris Cuomo's emerging from the basement after that fake quarantine he did. We were all being played. The truth is, Anthony Fauci operated his own government fiefdom since the 80s, and he resented being questioned by people who knew how to ask real questions. You're believing a regime that has 1 million people tonight in re-education camps that have collars around their necks in the videos that we've seen. They torture Christians. They drive women to clinics to abort their babies.
There's Chinese officials, party people, and there's Chinese scientists. The Chinese scientists I've dealt with myself personally for years, if not decades. Many of them have trained here in the United States. Have faith that they are not distorting things.
No. Now, that answer told me everything I needed to know. Well, over time, the voters saw through Fauci a lot faster than the elites did. He was not selfless. He was self-interested.
They're really criticizing science because I represent science. That's dangerous. To me, that's more dangerous than the slings and the arrows that get thrown at me.
He wasn't committed to the science. He pursued his own agenda, and he reveled in his own fame. Oh, yeah, no, it's all about the science. All right. Tony Fauci turned out to be little more than a petty, political, ambitious, scheming little man. Worse than politicians who are at least ultimately responsible to the voters. From the very first weeks of the pandemic, the angle kept reminding you to not lose sight of the question in every crisis. Who rules the country? The elected officials we vote for, who have to balance myriad factors when making decisions that affect us all? Or unelected officials and so-called experts who only answer to the establishment press? As much as we'd all like Fauci in prison, do not forget that the press came out of this with the biggest black eye of them all. They will forever wear a badge of shame for how they covered for Fauci from day one. They didn't try to get it right. Instead, their focus was on helping Deep Six Trump in 2020.
Do you think it will be safe in November for voters to physically go to vote at the polls?
I hope so, Jake. I can't guarantee it. There is always a possibility as we get into next fall and the beginning of early winter, that we could see a rebound.
A rebound, not in your reputation. This was all about power, taking it away from the people and giving it to the unelected experts who could boss us around whenever they felt like it. Never again. And that's the angle. All right, here to weigh in as HHS Secretary Robert.
Put a one in the chat if you agree with that. Put a one in the chat if you think Anthony Fauci should be prosecuted. Let's keep going with the Anthony Fauci diary. Put a one in the chat if you agree with that. Put a one in the chat if you think Anthony Fauci should be prosecuted. And while you at it, double tap, hit the like button, and subscribe.
It was Beatlemania. Dear diary, there were the usual selfies galore. Fauci didn't complain. He was in no rush. Most doctors fighting a pandemic would skip the selfies and get straight to work. Not him. He bathed in the attention. Deep down, he knew the virus wasn't that deadly. He'd inflated the fatality rate. If he told the truth, the country wouldn't lock down, and Hollywood, who loved being alone in their mansions, undisturbed, wouldn't beckon. Dear diary, Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear diary, Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as her guest. What fun. Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan, and we did not have masks. Obviously, Fauci knew the mask mandate was a ruse, but had to keep up appearances. And as we read deeper into the diary, it appears Fauci thought celebrities were sexually attracted to him. Dear diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage, presented to me virtually by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen to get a glass of water. Fauci was hot. Later, they had a second date.
How rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have?
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is a thrill for me. You truly have emerged as a personal hero for me.
Fauci wrote about that too. Says he was a little embarrassed when Julia Roberts said, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Fauci," but he did like being called her personal hero. Stars will call you a hero if you let them stay home from work. Hollywood got a 2-year vacation thanks to Fauci's orders, so he made a lot of friends in high places, even though most American lives were being throttled.
How do y'all feel about this now that you know these truths have been revealed? This led to Anthony Fauci having to be subpoenaed to Capitol Hill, taking the Fifth Amendment over 100 times. And here it is, him being called out because like I said earlier, he didn't have a right to take the Fifth Amendment. Let me know how you feel about it in the chat.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you?
Wow.
You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Fifth, Anthony Fauci pleads the fifth. I plead the fifth. F-I-F, fifth. I plead the fifth. Fifth.
And when the evidence is uncertain, officials need to say so. When recommendations are based on assumptions rather than hard data, they need to say so. And when they get something wrong, they need to own it. And when the trust is lost and the consequences extend far beyond any single pandemic, the next time public health officials genuinely need Americans to listen, millions of people may simply ignore them or not believe them. And Dr. Fauci, you were undeniably the face of the federal government's COVID response. You said so yourself in your diary. You said it's not hyperbole to say, I've become the most famous and talked about person in the country. So I want to understand how we got here. COVID-19. You were specifically asked to clear up the confusion and misinformation surrounding masks. You told the American people right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with a mask. The interviewer immediately stopped you and said, are you sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this. And instead of walking back or qualifying your statement in any way, you doubled down. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little better. It might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with their masks. They keep touching their face. Just a few weeks later, the CDC released its guidance recommending that Americans wear masks in public. You were asked to explain your original recommendation. You emphasized a very different consideration. You said, well, back then, the critical issue was to save the masks for the people who really needed them because it was felt there was a shortage of masks. So I want everybody to sit with that. The critical issue driving your initial recommendation to the American public was scarcity, logistics, not medical evidence. So when you told the American people there was no reason to wear a mask, what was your principal objective? Giving them an honest assessment of the medical evidence or discouraging them from consuming a scarce supply of masks?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Well, unfortunately,
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Anthony Fauci, Capitol Hill, taking the fifth over 100 times.
Over 200 times over those 38 years. During and after the COVID pandemic, I have appeared multiple times for hearings in the Senate and the House, usually under oath, and sat for several days-long transcribed sworn interviews, answering questions about the very issues that are now the subject of this hearing. However, given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason
he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because over 200 times over those 38 years. During and after the COVID pandemic, I have appeared multiple times for hearings in the Senate and the House, usually under oath, and sat for several days-long transcribed sworn interviews, answering questions about the very issues that are now the subject of this hearing. However, given Senator Paul's obvious obsession with calling for my prosecution, his repeated slanderous comments about me, and recently his publicly releasing my unredacted personal diary aimed at embarrassing and intimidating me, the only conclusion I can reach is that the sole reason he is calling me before this committee is to get me to say something, anything, that could vindicate his repeated public pledges that I end up, in his words, quote, behind bars, unquote. Any reasonable person who has followed his unhinged obsession with me would readily come to the same conclusion. Therefore, although it pains me to do so, because
He did not deny anything, though. What a piece of crap. He didn't deny the diary. He didn't deny what's in the diary. He just said that Rand Paul released the diary. So that's good to know that Rand Paul doxed him, that this diary is authentic. He didn't deny the diary. Did you guys catch that? He didn't deny the diary's existence. He didn't deny the diary's validity, right? He just said that he was doxed. So now we know the things that we're learning are actually true, and he did say them. Thank you, Fauci, for still with your narcissistic. Don't you love narcissists? I love narcissists. Don't you just love narcissists? They just can't help but tell on themselves, right? He could have took this opportunity to say, those are not my words. That is not my diary. Instead of denying the diary, instead of denying that it's his words, he comes out and says, the Rand Paul exposed my personal unredacted diary. Dummy, dumb. What's wrong with the Democrat? Dumb. This was his opportunity to deny the diary, which revealed he lied about the efficacy. He lied about the masks. He was a famed whoremonger. Double tap hit the like button. And now we have the truth, thanks to Rand Paul. And now Fauci, in his narcissistic ways, just admitted that the diary is real. And I just exposed it on the Perfect Timing podcast. Double tap hit the like button. Breaking news, the diary is real. Back to Capitol Hill, because it's only a hill sitting on Capitol Bill. God dog it.
We have learned that U.S. coronavirus researchers at UNC shipped, quote, humanized or transgenic mice to China by around 2017 for use in their dangerous coronavirus work. Under your NIAID coronavirus, researchers also used aborted baby body parts in mice research.
Wow.
And taxpayers paid for them to do that.
Wow.
NIH-funded coronavirus researcher Dr. Ralph Barrick and his colleagues at UNC put parts of livers, thymuses, and chunks of human fetal lung that they got from aborted, almost 5-month-old human babies. They put those parts in their research mice. They disgustingly named them BLTL mice and wrote they had created a, quote, sandwich of aborted body parts in the mice. Get it, folks? BLT. A BLT sandwich.
The sick mind of Dr. Fauci. The sick mind of Dr. Fauci on display. The sick mind of Dr. Fauci on display with the exposed new diary. Now we understand. I know a lot of you heard about the Fauci diary, right? And now we just have breaking news that Fauci, under oath, has just testified the diary is real. I don't think he intended to say and admit the diary is real, but what he said was Rand Paul, what he wanted us to know in his narcissistic viewpoint, he wanted Americans to know that Rand Paul exposed the diary. Everybody with me? Not that the diary was fake, not that anything in the diary was not said by him. No, what he wanted everybody to know, he said, he pleaded the fifth to everything. Over 100 times, Fauci pled the fifth. Listen to this video I'm about to play of Dr. Fauci taking the fifth after being pardoned over 100 times. But he takes the time to make a statement to say, Rand Paul doxed and released this diary without my permission. He didn't say the diary was fake. He didn't even say the diary was edited. He did not dispute anything that we have heard reported in the diary. Not him being a fame whore, not him lying about the efficacy, not him lying about the masks. Let's get into it, you guys. Dr. Fauci on Capitol Hill, should it be prosecuted? Y'all let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat.
Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
Look at that guy. Look at him. Look at Look at this shit. He can't make his shit up, man. Look at this guy. Woo! You gonna keep taking the fifth? Yeah, he gonna keep taking the fifth. Look. He can't hold it in, man. It's secure. Look. He gonna keep taking the fifth. Yeah, he gonna keep taking the fifth, man. One more time.
Advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. Or tie you're wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight.
Did you see that? That was a cold look. Ooh, this is the best little video. Let's watch this comedy. Let's watch this comedy, y'all. Anthony Fauci taking the fifth over and over again.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie you're wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
He tried to play it up. He just look. He was like, okay, what are you gonna say? Look.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know.
You have no rights under the Fifth Amendment, man. How many times you gonna take the Fifth, man? How many times you gonna take the Fifth?
I have a secret document that I think you need to say.
One more time. Look, Anthony Fauci doing his best Dave Chappelle impression.
So based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight.
Y'all with me? Y'all with me, man? Fauci diary. The Fauci diary is exposed. Fauci on Capitol Hill. He approved gain of function test. Lie after lie after lie. Let's hear Glenn Beck. Let's what Glenn Beck got to say on Fauci.
Okay, so let me tell you exactly what I believe. And let me be precise about the word believe, because I can't prove it in court. This is not a courtroom. We have the documents. I've made a very powerful argument. I think if I was in a courtroom, I would win, but that's not the way our system works, okay? I believe that Anthony Fauci approved gain of function research, and he knows exactly how that is defined. Once he redefined it in front of Congress, he went back and they changed it on the NIH website to fit his description of what gain of function is. I believe he did it because he's arrogant enough to conclude the work was too important for the law to stop him, and he found a way to route the money and let him say later that it wasn't technically what everybody knows it exactly was. Wuhan was sloppy. Something went wrong in the fall of 2019. People started getting sick shortly after, and I believe it was the cover-up that followed. That's not a theory. The cover-up is documented. The last part is an opinion. In April, a federal grand jury indicted Dr. David Morens, that's Fauci's closest aide for nearly 2 decades, on 5 counts, including conspiracy and destruction of federal records. The indictment describes Morens moving conversations off government email specifically to defeat the Freedom of Information request. It names Peter Daszak of EcoHealth Alliance, the outfit that passed NIH money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It lists them as a co-conspirator, along with another guy from Boston University. 51 years of theoretical exposure. That case is live right now. And the question that I just can't get past is, if there's nothing there, what were they hiding?
Right.
You don't route correspondence through Gmail to protect science. You don't shred documents, as it was pointed out again today. Anthony Fauci, his assistant, is on record shredding documents. Why would you do that? You don't do that unless you're trying to assure that a grantee, their name doesn't turn up in a FOIA production to protect science or to protect yourself.
Wow. Anthony Fauci. That's the Blaze. That's the Blaze. Shout out to the Blaze. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Anthony Fauci diary. Now we know the diary was leaked by Rand Paul. The diary was leaked by Rand Paul. That's why Fauci's so pissed off. But also what we confirmed today, Fauci confirms for his in his own narcissistic ways, is that the diary is real. The diary is real, and everything in it is actually true. Double tap, hit the like button.
I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon at any point between January 1st, 2014, and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply.
So that's real action right there. That's real consequences, and that's what the American people deserve. How many people agree with that? Anthony Fauci really going to be held in contempt and some accountability finally for this person. How y'all feel about that? I think he should be held in contempt, and I believe there should be some accountability on behalf of individuals like Fauci who understood and knew what they were doing when it comes to gain of function testing and everything that was discussed in the pandemic. How y'all feel about that, man? Double tap hit the like button. We talking about Anthony Fauci. We're talking about the diary of Anthony Fauci. I can't talk to myself, so I talk to my diary. I can't talk to myself, so I talk to my diary. Anthony Fauci's diary is doxed by Rand Paul, and now he's on Capitol Hill, and the lies are flowing like water. Double tap at the like button, y'all.
Chairs the House Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. Really appreciate your joining us, Congressman. I mean, first off, your reaction to what we're not hearing from Dr. Fauci, and just in general, I mean, you're overseeing a lot of organizations throughout our country. Some of the real problems here is that NGOs like EcoHealth Alliance, they are receiving government funding by way of Dr. Fauci at the NIH. And even though they're closed down, more are popping up. Individuals like Peter Daszak, who's the president of EcoHealth Alliance, he's now at another organization that popped up just after, Nature Health Global. So what is being done to oversee some of the funding based on hard-earned taxpayer dollars to what we're seeing right now?
Well, hi, Chris. Yeah, hi, Ike. We're trying to uncover it, and not just trying, but getting it done. JD Vance is leading a fraud task force, which I'm actually going to be joining him next week in one of my first meetings with them. And we're going to be doing everything we can to uncover it. And I have to tell you something. This testimony, I don't always agree with Rand Paul, but he's right on the mark here. He's got nothing but facts. He's putting it out. People can see what went on here, and now
people can see what went on here. Double tap hit the like button.
It was Beatlemania. Dear Diary, there were the usual selfies galore. Fauci didn't complain. He was in no rush. Most doctors fighting a pandemic would skip the selfies and get straight to work. Not him. He bathed in the attention. Deep down, he knew the virus wasn't that deadly. He'd inflated the fatality rate. If he told the truth, the country wouldn't lock down, and Hollywood, who loved being alone in their mansions, undisturbed, wouldn't beckon. Dear Diary, Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear Diary, Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as her guest. What fun! Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan, and we did not have masks. Obviously, Fauci knew the mask mandate was a ruse, but had to keep up appearances. And as we read deeper into the diary, it appears Fauci thought celebrities were sexually attracted to him. Dear Diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage, presented to me virtually by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen to get a glass of water. Fauci was hot. Later, they had a second date.
How rad that we have maybe the coolest man on the planet right now. Wow, and there's the room. This is intense. Does anybody else have
Hello. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is a thrill for me. You truly have emerged as a personal hero for me.
Fauci wrote about that too. Says he was a little embarrassed when Julia Roberts said, "Oh my God, it's Dr. Fauci," but he did like being called her personal hero. Stars will call you a hero if you let him stay home from work. Hollywood got a 2-year vacation thanks to Fauci's orders, so he made a lot of friends in high places, even though most American lives were being throttled.
How y'all feel finding out the truth? Let's get into how we got here. This is how we got here. I've been telling you all. And then Anthony Fauci admits that the diary is real. So Rand Paul is supposedly the one who doxed Anthony Fauci's personal diary without his permission. I don't know how he got the diary. Anybody in the chat know how Rand Paul got the diary? So how we got here, Anthony Fauci in his opening statement today says Rand Paul illegally and unfairly doxed him and has printed, trying to taint the public's mind by printing his personal memoir without his permission. He didn't say it wasn't real. He didn't say it wasn't his. He didn't say the things he wrote in there were lies, or he didn't wrote them. So let's get into Rand Paul right here, getting into the diary and what we're talking about this morning.
Take away from the Fauci diaries and what you expect for Wednesday?
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling it. If you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he knew. He already knew. And we've known this for a while, that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it, they go on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced it came from these wild animals in the marketplace. But that level of dishonesty is really astounding.
What did you take away from the Fauci diaries and what you expect for Wednesday?
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling it. If you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he knew. He already knew. And we've known this for a while, that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it, they go on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced it came from these wild animals in the marketplace. But that level of dishonesty is really astounding.
That's why he needed a pardon. Can we just be honest? That's why he needed a pardon. And in order to keep the narrative, he lied about the fact that, and now why is this so important today? What did we talk about recently? What did we talk about here, geopolitics? We talked about recently what we learned, that they have similar labs. How do I want to frame this? I don't want to say similar labs, but they have labs in the Ukraine that have similar viruses, right? But the labs in the Ukraine, we just learned about this. Now, Russia went to the UN. Russia called a special meeting. This is the reason why I learned about this news, because I study and I look at more than just American news outlets. I was looking at a UN meeting, right, where Russia called the meeting, right? And Russia called the meeting to say that they are putting the world on alert because they believe that the Ukraine is housing deadly viruses in labs in the Ukraine. And this was the first time the world had heard this. So when I did my deep dive and did my further research, what I found is there's a lot of pushback from the UN and from global bodies to say they're just like what happened with Fauci. This is the answer from the UN, from NATO, from global body. And they said it to Russia. Russia is overreacting. There's no proof, and there are no gain of function testing occurring in the Ukraine. They have labs in the Ukraine where they have certain antibodies and viruses, but they said to Russia that these labs do not pose a threat to you because they're not developing bioweapons. How would you feel about that if you were Russia and you were in this conflict? And you knew that they had labs that housed things like this, but they were telling you, hey, Russia, don't worry about it. Hey, Russia, especially learning what you're learning about the lies Anthony Fauci told. Now couple that with what I just told. We just did this story. If you are a subscriber, if you're a member of my channel, you remember we just did this story. I showed you the UN meeting. This is not conjecture. This is not my opinion. I showed you the Russian speaking in Russian at the UN meeting. You can go look it up yourself right now. This was 2 weeks ago. Russia called a meeting to tell the world that the Ukraine has labs that have viruses, deadly viruses. And then the UN, and they said Russia's overreacting. Russia has no proof. And when I dug deeper, the truth is what they said is, well, we do have labs. We got Ebola. Yeah, we got some shit, but we're not developing. These labs, and this is the same lie Anthony Fauci told. What the UN is saying on behalf of the Ukraine, and it makes you wonder how this conflict and why this conflict started off and what they've been doing in the Ukraine. Conservatives already knew what was the Ukraine. It's just like Andrew Tate and how people like that use certain European countries. Does anybody know what they did in the Ukraine under Joe Biden and the Biden mafia? Anybody know? It was child trafficking, it was prostitution, it was drugs, oligarchy. It was all type of just mishaps and just all type of illegal havens in the Ukraine. That's why Russia had been having a problem. That's why it was Nazi proliferation in the Ukraine. No one ever talks about before the conflict broke out. What was Ukraine like? Why was Biden? How did Hunter Biden get on the fucking board of Burisma? Man, I'm just sharing some shit with you, man. I'm gonna get back to Fauci. I'm gonna play this video again. I'm gonna get back to Fauci. But I just want to share with you that, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of shit. I just want to tell you about, in the Russia-Ukraine. And it's, for me, I don't know if people even understand that even though there's a global conflict and Russia is in the conflict, the Ukraine was at the meeting. They still have meetings and global body. I mean, I thought it was deep. It was like Star Wars. They're in a meeting at a round table. Russia's there and the Ukraine is there, but Russia's bombing the capital of Ukraine right now, bombing the hell out of Kiev right now. But they at a meeting with a global body, and Russia is doing its best to impart upon the global body. Listen to me, please. They have these labs in the Ukraine. Now, a lot of reasons why we should take stock with Russia and now what we've learned about Fauci in these labs in the Ukraine. Number one, like I said, Russia is now bombing the capital and has been bombing the capital for over 2 weeks. So if we find out that these labs exist in the Ukraine, at a certain point, does it matter if they're developing bioweapons, if these biohazards are in the lab and Russia bombs the lab and they get out? Double tap it. Is everybody with me in my logic? At what point, UN, at what point, NATO, does it matter if the labs in the Ukraine are developing bioweapons if Russia is bombing the hell out of the Ukraine and they bomb one of these labs and these things get out? Oh, that's my baby call. I'm going to get back to the video.
away from the Fauci diaries and what do you expect for Wednesday?
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling it. If you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he knew, he already knew. And we've known this for a while that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January of 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it, they go on and on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced it came from these wild animals in the marketplace. But that level of dishonesty is really astounding.
What did you take away from the Fauci diaries and what do you expect for Wednesday?
You know, one of the biggest items that we found in there was that in January of 2020, he already was acknowledging that the virus didn't originate in the marketplace. For years, he's been telling it. If you interviewed him last week, he's probably still telling you the reason we think it came from nature is because they had these exotic animals, and that's where SARS came from previously. But he knew, he already knew. And we've known this for a while that other people knew, but we didn't know he actually knew and was acknowledging that it didn't. The earliest people who got COVID were not associated with the marketplace. The Chinese CDC was saying this in January of 2020. He knew it. He told Dear Diary, but to the public, he commissioned this paper called Proximal Origins, and in it, they go on and on saying it's implausible that it came from the lab, and we're really convinced it came from these wild animals in the marketplace. But that level of dishonesty is really astounding.
What did you take away from the Fauci diaries and what do you expect for Wednesday?
That level of dishonesty is I agree, man. Rand Paul, man, exposing Dr. Fauci. We wouldn't even have this information if it wasn't for Rand Paul. And it's I'm like, man, Rand Paul, man, you doing some good work. And I'm like, yeah, where did Rand Paul get this diary, right? And it has to be a source where Fauci is not even beginning to even discuss whether or not it's real or not, right? The Fauci never has discussed, the diary ain't real. So I want to know more about what's going on with the diary. Let's see if I can find you guys something more about the diary's origins that brought us here. Double tap at the like button, everybody.
Fauci called you a real problem in his diary and asked for you to be removed from the task force. What's your response to everything he said?
Well, you know, Laura, I wish I could say it was a surprise, but I saw it with my own eyes when I was there. In fact, I wrote about it in my book. First of all, he had a pathologic personality of a narcissist. I was told, and this is third hand, that he was standing on the White House lawn handing out cards to the reporters to solicit interviews before I got there. You know, this is really somebody who prioritized himself, as has been said already tonight on your show, was thrilled to be hanging out with Hollywood elites and doing podcasts with Julia Roberts and talking to Barbara Streisand. Meanwhile, working class people were being destroyed. They were being killed. You know, you have to realize he was lying, but he admitted it here. But I knew he was lying the whole time. He admitted that he was in charge and recommended and persuasive about shutting schools, doing the lockdowns in New York, California has been said here. He admitted that, in fact, he knew that I was not for letting it rip. He was letting the media run with that, and because he wanted to delegitimize anyone who disagreed with him and make it seem like I and others were dangerous. He admitted that by name explicitly that schools were not sources of spreading. He said I was right about that, but he let the schools maintain closure since it's from fall of 2020. Children were being destroyed. He didn't bother to correct that. We have to remember what Bobby Kennedy and you have already said, though. He presided over the most destructive, most unethical fiasco in modern health history. More than 1 million extra Americans died from the policy over the 3 years of 2020 to 23 compared to if we would have done what Sweden did. His policies destroyed kids, healthy kids, poor kids, and, you know, not only all of the things, peaks in spousal abuse, child abuse, drug abuse,
Yeah,
These are
but
long-lasting
yeah,
problems, including
yeah.
losing trust in all of science.
Anthony Fauci, Fauci Diaries, everybody. Fauci Diaries. Should Anthony Fauci be prosecuted? Put a 1 in the chat. Double tap at the like button, man. Should Anthony Fauci be prosecuted? Put a 1 in the chat. Fauci Diaries being exposed. Truths and lies and truths being exposed on Purpose Summit Podcast. #1 podcast on YouTube for domestic and geopolitical debate. Get the likes up. Let your comments, let your opinions be known in the chat. Let's go right now. Back to Capitol Hill. It's only a hill.
The gain of function in the Wuhan lab. Now we know that was released from the Wuhan lab. Now, whether it was on purpose or not on purpose, it killed millions of people, and he lied through his teeth. He should be locked up before he leaves this building today and put in prison and then put on trial in front of the American people. We lost 20 to 30,000 people in Alabama alone. And I hope every damn one of them sues this Dr. Fauci, puts him in court. If we can't put him in prison, let's put him in court every day for the rest of his life where he has to be punished and listen to the death that he caused. The vaccine, the death, the lies that he gave to President Trump, and then he took over for Biden, and Biden didn't know what day it was, and so he was free to just run loose across this country and just lie when the truth he knew was totally different than what he was telling. And again, it's embarrassing for what this is the best country on the face of the earth, and we had this fool as the NIAID
I didn't know what
director.
that was.
It's just absolutely appalling that he killed people, and people are still dying because of this vaccine. Who knows what any of these people that are dying every day are dying from, and a lot of it, I think, is from that vaccine that he forced on the people and used us as guinea pigs. It's appalling.
Yes.
It is appalling. It is appalling. Double tap hit the like button. It is appalling. Get the likes up. Follow the chat, man. Get the likes up. Double tap at the like button. We coming to you with the Fauci update, man. Should Fauci be prosecuted? I'm coming in with that live Fauci update. Should Fauci be prosecuted? I'm saying yes. I'm saying prosecute his ass. I'm saying prosecutors. The Biden tapes just dropped, and he couldn't remember a thing 10 years ago. Did you know the Biden tapes just dropped? This is how it all started. This is how it all started. Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, Dr. Fauci. It's like the X Factor. You got the X-Men, you got the X Factor. These is the bad guys, super villains, man.
Fox News alert, we just got our hands on the Biden tapes, and now we know the truth. Over 70 hours of unfiltered raw recordings between Joe and his ghostwriter were just made public by the DOJ. For years, the Bidens have been trying to keep you from listening to these tapes. The Bidens and the Democrats paid lawyers a small fortune to bury them. Why? They're pretty bad.
I'm in Munich, but after Angela Merkel, president's working lunch with, hang on a second. It's confusing me.
Nope. The Biden tapes will be tomorrow, man. Nope. Gotta come back tomorrow if you want to see the Biden tapes, man. More MAGA nonsense. You said it, Andy. Y'all gotta come back tomorrow for the Biden tapes. Yep. Nope. Not tonight, man. Nope. Not tonight. Biden tapes tomorrow, 1 p.m. Yep. Tell him about it. Tell him, Brandon. Andy, I want you to be here tomorrow. Come on back tomorrow for more MAGA nonsense. Tell them in the chat, man. All we do is win. And if you came for MAGA, put your hands in the air. Let them stay there. And if you came for MAGA, put your ass in the air. Let them stay there. Yeah, man, this MAGA first, man. MAGA America first, man. Donald Trump news, Trump news, Trump news. Giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. Giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. That's what we do every day, Andy. Hey, what are we going to do today, Pinky? What are we going to do today, Pinky? Tell them in the chat, man. Tell them in the chat. What are we going to do today, Pinky? What are we going to do? The same thing we do every day. The same thing we do every day. Trump news, Trump news, Trump news. Oh, man, come on, man. This is what we've been doing all day, man. This has been a Trump red line television show. We have Bibi, Netanyahu, and Zelenskyy in the White House. I gave the breakdown. Everybody been afraid. I gave the breakdown. Bibi, Netanyahu, and you know what I'm saying? Closed meetings. Hey, remember that's the phraseology that we have that you heard here first, man. Purpose of a podcast. I said a closed meeting. You know what I'm saying? Some people tried to say secret meeting. I talked about closed meeting. That's the phraseology that you're going to have coming out of Purpose of a podcast. 2 separate closed meetings between Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy. Afterwards, Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy were seen at the Lindsey Graham funeral. I brought you a live commentary from the Lindsey Graham funeral where Bibi Netanyahu and Zelenskyy have some come to Jesus moment. I mean, literally, it was some mafia, Al Capone, Oliver Stone level. Hey, that was pretty good right there. Al Capone, Oliver Stone level politicking going on at that Lindsey Graham funeral. I mean, there's certain rooms, you know, people say you got to be in certain rooms. Who knew? Who knew? You knew? I didn't know. Who knew that the Lindsey Graham funeral was one of those rooms? But it turns out that, rest in peace, Lindsey Graham, that was one of those rooms, baby. It was some movers and shakers. It was some major stakeholders. It was going down all the way to Funky Town up in that room around. Hey, Lindsey Graham funeral was the place to be in Washington, D.C., and it makes sense for his legacy. Rest in peace to Lindsey Graham. So at Lindsey Graham's funeral, and then I played the video. Did you remember that scene? I played that Al Capone scene where Pete Hegseth was face to face with Bibi Netanyahu, and it was like he was giving him bread and he was giving him a ring, and it was like this Al Capone, Oliver Stone look between Pete Hegseth and Bibi Netanyahu. And I'm saying, what is going on at this funeral? Why is Hegseth face to face with Bibi at a funeral? Everybody should be face forward. And it was just epic. You got to rewind. If anybody didn't watch this podcast from the beginning, this is a podcast you want to rewatch. Yeah, we did a lot in this podcast today. Fire content, man. Pete Hegseth face to face with Bibi Netanyahu. Zelenskyy face to face with Bibi Netanyahu. All of this going down at the Lindsey Graham funeral. Now, keep in mind, as we're watching this, I'm educating the audience on these nuances that a lot of the news media hasn't talked about. One of them is the fact that Lindsey Graham was in the Ukraine in a meeting with Zelenskyy right hours before his death. Now, in the reports of today, when you hear reports, it says Lindsey Graham days before. That's not actually true. That because we have video evidence of Lindsey Graham actually in the Ukraine hours before he's reported dead in the ambulances at his home. So that's where the speculation came in. As I'm watching the Lindsey Graham funeral, and we're watching the interactions between Bibi and Zelenskyy, Pete Hegseth and Bibi, I'm educating the audience on these other nuances that's going on. Hey, did you know that Lindsey Graham was in the Ukraine hours before his death? They're reporting days, but it actually, you can go back and look yourself. So it's been a hell of a show today. It's been a hell of a show today, man. It's been a hell of a show today, man. Yeah, man, powerful content from the Purpose of a Podcast. Then we got into the ICE surge. So after we talked about Bibi Netanyahu, after we talked about Trump saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm going to bomb Carl Island. But don't touch the pipes because we're going to keep the oil. This is Donald Trump. This is the black Trump. And I said it. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to bomb Kong Island, but I told them don't blow up the pipes because I'm going to keep the oil. And I want to tell everybody in America, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. This is the Black Trump. Black Trump out. Double tap hit the like button. So we talked about Iran. We talked about Trump saying he's gonna bomb his little heart out in Iran. We said Trump said we're gonna continue bombing in Iran. I've been telling people there's no shortage, and to prove there's no shortage, the bombing is gonna restart tonight. We gotta retaliate. That's what Donald Trump said. After we talked about Donald Trump and us bombing our little hearts out in Iran and refusing to negotiate with Iran, keeping the Straits of Hormuz closed because we don't need it. Then we went into the ICE surge and Donald Trump using his executive powers, expanding the presidential powers like the king he is. King Trump, king of the garden. King of the garden. Can I get King Trump in the chat one time? King of the garden. So Donald Trump expanding his presidential powers, man, revokes TPS for over 1 million people. But we still to this day, man, so much news has been going on geopolitically. I haven't got a chance. I designed a whole show. I did a graph. I did a table. You guys never got to see it because it's more than just the 350,000 Haitians. It's more than just the over several thousand Somalians. This TPS decision affects 1 million people and several sections of the American immigrant population, not just Haitians, not just Somalians. I haven't had a chance to break down the entire judgment. So in March, Trump said he's going to remove TPS via executive order. A liberal judge blocked Trump from removing TPS. The reason why we're talking about this today is the Supreme Court recently came back and said Trump had the authority to rescind TPS. Trump signs it the other day. When Trump signs, now this is the way it's happened mathematically, step by step, methodically. It didn't just happen overnight. We had to get the decision from the Supreme Court. Trump actually signs the paperwork. Next thing you know, the ICE is released. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? ICE is on the way, not only in Ohio, where the majority of the Haitians are, but I've reported that ICE has surges, over 309 people arrested in Florida on the beach, and ICE is arresting people in New York, in Haitian communities, and people are self-deporting via the CBP app. How many people are aware of the ICE surge going on because of the TPS decision? TPS is in full effect, man. TPS has been rescinded for Somalians. Now, Somalians also were under the impression that they may be protected, and they were waiting on the Supreme Court decision because a judge in Minnesota also held up the fact that there were Somalians who also were being protected by TPS. TPS has been rescinded for everybody, not just the Haitians. Somalians, over 1 million people have been affected by that Supreme Court and Donald Trump executive decision. And we're already seeing arrests. We're already seeing, when I reported per Tom Homan and DHS and ICE, June had 43,000 arrests, the record-breaking numbers for ICE. So when I say ICE surge, it's not just conjecture to get people upset. I'm talking about real numbers. 43,000 in June. He said we're going to break that number in July. 43,000 arrests in June, and he said we're going to beat that number in July. How do you beat 43,000? That's over 1,000 a day. It's only 30,000. It's only 30 days in the month. It's only 30 days in the month, 43,000 arrests. ICE and Trump is not playing. What we say on this channel, ice, baby. Too cold. It's like ice, baby. Just go back home. Ooh, ice, baby. Too cold. It's like ice, baby. Just go back home. So yeah, man, fire show, man. Fire show today, man. Fire show today. We just hit 13,000 subscribers, man. I want to say thank you. Today I said all of my members, I just got some brand new members. How do you become a member? Hit the subscribe button. When you get a plus sign, hit the plus sign and become a member to support the channel. Support us all the way through 2026 to 2028. Red Wave, Marco Rubio, JD Vance. We're not sitting down, but Beyond that, I want to say to the people who actually hit the button and subscribed and became a member, I want to say thank you and I love you. And what I did last night is I went and I subscribed to all of my members. And it's a couple, it's not just a little bit. I got a few members and I want to say thank you. And I want to say everybody, encourage people to join and let you know how much I truly appreciate those people who have become members, who have subscribed and joined the channel. We're going to do, we got to get to like a couple hundred and then we could do like a members only live stream. But we got some good numbers right now. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's become a member. Those of you who are content creators who have joined the channel and become a member, I did my best to hit the notification bell. When you do something on YouTube, I'm very busy, but I will do my best to be there, support in the comment section. If you're live, do my best to be in the live. I want to support those who support me. And again, thank you to everybody who I got some people who recently joined, became members, and it feels so good, man. It feels so good. Thank you to everybody who joined the channel. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. Everybody right now, double tap, hit the like button, hit the like. It's absolutely free. I'm telling you right now, it's the #1 channel on YouTube. If you subscribe to any channel on YouTube, let it be this channel right here. This is the channel you want to subscribe to because of the work and the resilience of the content creator, the quality, the studio quality, the lights, the quality of the lights, the quality of the microphone, the audio. Shout out to DJ Cuda. Shout out to DJ Cuda. Shout out to DJ Cuda, man. When I talk about the microphone and intimidate MCs with the sound of my baritone when I'm rocking on the microphone because I'm a funky rhyme maker, MC Undertaker, the one who likes to max and relax. Boom, 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 boom. And after that, issue dig 'em smacks. I keep the hands clapping, fingers tapping, toe tapping. After that, the Uzi patrols packing. EPMD, the mic's my only friend. And through the course of the party, I kill again and again. So if you think about battling, you better come prepared. Come with your shield and your armor gear. You got to chill. Man, shout out to DJ Cuda, man. I remember I had 40 subscribers. Yes, me. I only have 40 subscribers. Lonely, lonely, lonely. Lonely. I'm so lonely. Lonely. I could die. Lonely. Man, I have 40, man. I had that 40 dungeon, man. And it was people like, you know what I'm saying, man? DJ Cuda. Shout out to the Roger Report, the Habitual Line Steppers, man, the Cool Table, man, the whole movement, man. And it was people like DJ Cuda, man, that really reached out and taught a lot of us the importance of the present. If you want to know how a lot of us learn from DJ Cuda. Like a lot of people don't even cam up, but the fact of how I cam up, how I present with my Ferragamos, how I present, what I present, you know what I'm saying? How I present, how I look with the lights, the camera, the action, all the shit. Shout out to DJ Cuda, man. People like Angry Man, who are the archetypes and lead the way. So yeah, man. #1 podcast on YouTube, man. #1 podcast on YouTube, man. I know you be wanting to have this debate and you know you want to be at a place. And it don't matter if you agree with me or not, man. It's just a great place for debate for us. YouTube, thank you, YouTube. Thank you for the live stream. Thank you for the platform. It's just a great opportunity. YouTube has granted us this space to have this discussion, and I'm very thankful. And I'm thankful for everybody who shows up and supports the channel. You know what I'm saying? We had great numbers today, great reception, great engagement. A lot of people voted in the poll. You know what I'm saying? I keep my poll up. Double tap, hit the like button if you like a poll. Double tap, hit the like button if you like a good poll, a good stiff poll. I keep a stiff pole on the hole. You know what I'm saying? You know, I keep a stiff pole in the hole. If you know, you know. I keep a good stiff pole in the hole. If you know, you know. Double tap hit the like button, man. If you know, you know, man. If you know, you know. Double tap hit the like button, man. I want to see the poll, man. I don't got the poll. I was gonna read the results of the poll, man. I was going to read the results of the poll. But I want to say, everybody, thank you for voting. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the like button. We got over 100,000 likes, over 100,000 people watching right now. I want to say, everybody watching, thank you. Thank you to YouTube. You know how we always end this. God bless America. That's how we always end this, man. God bless America. God bless the President Trump. God bless the memory of Charlie Kirk. And God bless his family. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we always end it, man. Salute to you, man. Double back, man. That's how we say in my community. That's how we say I see you tomorrow. Double back, man. Hit the like, share, subscribe, the notification bell, and double back, man. That means be here tomorrow, man. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I go live when I want to go live. Hit the notification bell. I say 1 p.m. It's probably gonna be like 2 p.m. I go live when I want to go live, man. Double tap hit the like button. #1 podcaster on YouTube, man. There's not no other podcast like this. I'm gonna try to tell you right now, man. Everybody else is with that bullshit, man. Everybody else with that bullshit. They ain't giving you no real. They ain't giving you nothing like making it worthy for you to double tap, hit the like button, making it worthy of you to hit the like and subscribe, making it worthy for you to hit that super chat donate. Shout out to my brother Eric Jordan coming through with the super chats, coming through with the gifts, coming through with the likes, supporting the channel every day. Shout out to you, Eric Jordan. Shout out to everybody who's supporting the channel, man. I subscribe to your channel. I subscribe to all my members and supporters. Shout out to y'all, man. I love y'all for y'all support. Like I said, every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 o'clock rock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock rock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock rock, rock, around the clock. We gonna rock around the clock. I said 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We gonna rock around the clock. So hit the subscribe button, man. I'll see y'all in a minute, man. Double back. I'm about to make some dirty spaghetti